Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq, also known as the Black Yul Brenner. Mm, mm, mm. When you gonna shine it up? When you gonna put a little grease or something on it? Give it a little thing.
It's too hot for all that to have that rug on top. It's too hot.
Nevertheless, that is also Donovan Sadiq, if I didn't already say that, the recovering Democrat. He rides co-host here with me and sometimes is a thorn in my side. But nevertheless, I love him anyway. Also, like to say hello and a big giant welcome to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. You are the other side of the conversation. Not only are you viewers, you are participants because we do share the link where you can come on here. Hey, Rex said, finally caught you live. Yes, indeed. Where you can come on here, ask a question, make a comment or whatever. Now, I will ask, and I'm going to ask it every show. Please be brief because we might have other people wanting to come on here and give their opinion. This is going to be a very interesting show because I'm actually asking your opinion, right? We need to help somebody out. So we all need to pull together and help this person. Needless to say, the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are a great people, but we can always strive to do better. Donovan, what's up?
Other than this damn heat, nothing much. But you guys, do us a favor. As you guys come into the chat, please go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, and share button. Share on your platform so the message gets out and all that other great stuff like that. Also, it does take time, effort, and effort to do a show. If you guys so desire, we've got a scrolling thing at the bottom there with Venmo and all this other. If you guys have the time, every little bit helps. We appreciate every little bit that you guys can do. Donate to the channel. I mean, I gave my last $2 on Wednesday, so and I came with the song, So again, thank you guys for tuning in. You guys are the co-hosts on these shows. We really like you guys' opinions and things that come back, but I haven't really heard what this show is about. Demetra says I gotta wait and get my honest opinion. So you guys be ready for that. There might be some fisticuffs in here, but that's what we do here so we can get these conversations going. Let's get into it, Demetra. I think I'm ready for you.
All right. So let me go to these comments really quick. Fly Guy, how you doing? Well wishes to you as well. Miss Moni, how are you? Happy birthday all the way to August 31st. And you're giving salutations to your brown sugar, honey, boo, and all that other stuff. Donovan. Michael, how are you doing? Anita, what's going on with you? Emmett, how are you? Yes, Rex, you finally caught us live. Much love to you as well. Tito, what's going on with you? Yeah, grow some hair, Donovan. Zaid, how are you doing? In Black America, he said was a skit. He's a comedian. I looked and I'm not so sure because I was like, yeah, maybe he's a comedian, but I'm not so sure. And I'll tell you why. Yanni, how are you doing? Let's see here. Mike Nice, what's going on? Jimmy James and Brother Samuel, how are you doing? Easy, how are you? Let's see here. King of Sorrows. Corliss, what's going on? Third Coast McQueen. And anybody else I may have missed, I am sorry. But all right, let's go ahead and get it started. So I saw this TikTok, if you will, was kind of trending on the internet. And it comes from a guy by the name of Jonathan Does Comedy. That's his name. It's his page on TikTok. So he's rather sad. Now, Black America, I went to his page and I went through his page, and he is a comedian, I guess. He's trying to be a comedian like a lot of people are. He's got a bunch of corny jokes and things like that. Nothing harmless, right? It's just corny jokes. None of them which I found terribly funny, but harmless nevertheless. Because I was like you, Black America. I was like, well, it says Jonathan Does Comedy. Maybe it's a skit. But I went through the comments of the thing, and it doesn't appear to be a skit. And so I want to show it to you guys. And he basically asked the ladies, what did I do wrong? So not only from the ladies, but the men as well. I want to see what we can do to help him. So here we go. Donovan has no clue as to what I'm talking about. So I'm going to put it up here. Is this it? Yep, this is it. All right, here it goes.
So I just left a restaurant after waiting 30 minutes for a date to show up, and apparently I got stood up. I don't know what to say. Like, I'm trying to do everything right to be a gentleman. I brought flowers. I've been consistent talking with this girl for 2 weeks, trying to get to know what she likes, what she doesn't like. I made plans. I picked the restaurant, the day, and the time. You know, I've done everything to be just the kind of guy that would value somebody's time. Like, I'm just looking for my person. I'm just looking for the one that I guess is out there for me. I mean, I want to be somebody's husband someday, father. I'm trying to do everything that's right, and I just get stood up. Like, my feelings didn't even matter. Sitting there eating a meal by myself and realizing that nobody even cares about people anymore. Like, alien dating shouldn't even be this hard. It shouldn't be this hard to find somebody. It shouldn't be this difficult to fall in love, to be kind to one another. Like, what, ladies, tell me, what did I do wrong?
All right, so I'm gonna remove this, and I should say, if you guys, for whatever reason, are gonna watch the playback, hopefully I don't get demonetized. If I do, I will have to remove that because I forgot to take the music out the background. But hopefully, YouTube doesn't catch it. But if they do, that's why you won't see it. But I'll try to paraphrase it as best I can. So basically, he got stood up at a restaurant. I guess he was going to meet a young lady there. He says that he had been talking to her for about 2 weeks. Everything seemed like it was going great. And they decided to meet, and he showed up and she did not. So there he was outside of that restaurant in Los Angeles, by the way, lamenting about what had just happened to him. He says, I hope to be a father one day. I want to be a husband. I just want to find my person. And, asking what's wrong with people. And then finally, he asks, ladies, what did I do wrong? Now, I want to say he's in the very egregious dating market of Los Angeles, okay? And that speaks for itself. Los Angeles, in and of itself, is it's hard to do a lot of stuff there, let alone date. So I don't know where he would have met this young lady. Was it on a dating app? Doesn't sound like they met before, so maybe it was on an app. Again, he says they talked for 2 weeks and then they decided to meet. So an app, social media or something. But the lady stood him up, did not show up, ghosted him, for a lack of better words. That's the term nowadays when you just leave a person hanging. You don't give them a reason why you decided not to communicate with them or see them anymore. So he's ghosted. Seems very sad. Now, a couple of people I discussed this video about before I came on here, they said, I really feel sad for him. I know how he feels. It's ditto, right? Same. I know how it feels. So I want to ask you all, what can we do? What advice would we give him in order to help him, I guess, find his person? Donovan?
Well, number one, I recognize this guy. Wasn't he on a TLC show? And I believe this guy is a millionaire. I believe he's no, I don't know that for a fact, but he could be. No, he could be. I don't know. But here's the thing. And I'm going to make this short and sweet. Unfortunately, Los Angeles is jacked up when it comes to the dating scene. I think that's the hookup culture in the West. It is what it is. So I'm going to make this short and sweet. And I hope the guys watching the show or whatever. And I know a lot of people are not going to agree with me. Brother, this is why you need to get your passport and expand your options. It's simple as that. I mean, there's a whole world out there. Over, I think, 6 billion of the 9 billion people on the earth are women. So get your passport. I'm very sure you will find somebody out there that will treat you a certain way and, be with you. When I go to some countries, sometimes Well, not even sometimes. I'll give you guys a quick story. I was in the park walking my dog. I see this beautiful Mexican lady, beautiful. 3 kids with her, badass kids. You know, they've been Americanized, whatever. She's Hispanic. She speaks straight Spanish. So I'm, talking to her about my dog, whatever it is. And then her husband comes up. 5'2", typical. I can't really say if he's Mexican or not. He could have been Guatemalan or something like that. But a typical 5'2" guy, isn't great looking. She was gorgeous. And they ended up hooking up, whatever. And, they're doing their thing, right? You would never thought that this beautiful woman and this man would be together, but they are. So my advice to this guy here, the dating market here in America is jacked up because expectations for a lot of our people are delusional. Both sides of the coin, they're delusional. So my advice to him, get your passport.
And I want to read this. I'm going to put the link up in just a minute. Kiki, how you doing? Says, I saw this. I felt so bad for him. He didn't do anything wrong, but chose a little witch to invest his time in. Shaking my head, whoever she is, I hope she knows that she planted a seed of abandonment and she'll get her harvest from that, the person she really likes. If she wasn't feeling him, be woman enough to say it. She was wrong. Shaking my head. I totally agree with you. Just whatever happened to saying, hey, you know what? I thought there was something that I wanted to do, but at this moment, I'm just not interested. You don't even have to say I'm not interested in you. I'm just, I'm not interested. But thank you so much for spending some time with me. That way the person doesn't have abandonment. Because when you do that to somebody, they do feel abandoned, right? Like, dang, I have all these questions. What did I do? Do I smell? Did I say something? Like, what's going on here? So you're absolutely right. Let's see here. Tito, he says he even brought flowers. Yeah, ain't that what gentlemen are supposed to do? Bring flowers. And Donovan, I'm going to address your whole little passport comment in just a few. I ain't going to do it right now because it's too early for fisticuffs, okay? Jimmy James, he says, I think it's fake. We all know a woman will respond to destroy him to get clout. That guy from Texas, how you doing? And Mikey says, cut your losses and move on. It was only 2 weeks of talking. Well, a lot can be said in 2 weeks. Maybe they were, I don't know, I'm just speculating here, having some, deep conversations, and he felt a connection toward her, and he, looked like he dressed up, probably put some smell good on, went and got her some flowers and roses, nevertheless, right? And he's looking forward to potentially building a relationship, and she doesn't show up. And Easy, I saw your comment talking about maybe she was there sitting in the cut to see how he looked. Joanne, how you doing? Let's see here. You say, I don't believe he'll find a wife on an app, Phil, for this man and those who truly are looking, but pick the right woman. No decent woman will be on a dating app. Ooh. Lady Blue, how you doing? And Kiki says, sadly, this happens to good men and women all the time. Shaking my head, not sure why it's like that, but it is. Yeah. And CJ, hold on. CJ OJAY. I know I'm probably jacking it up. It's probably a way to say it, but how you doing anyway? He said he did nothing wrong. Some people are just inconsiderate. Maybe he dodged a bullet. Good point. Facts, not feelings. How you doing? All right. And Michael says, I think that man needs to go out more and interact with women. Let's see here. King of Sorrow said he should have went back in that restaurant. Sounds like it was just it was jumping. He's already at the party. He could have met someone while he's filming his post. Good point. He could have took the flowers in there and one by one handed them to a nice young lady and say, how you doing, beautiful? Just wanted to make your day. And, got him a little drinky drink and sat back and chilled. He could have.
Did that fall hurt? Because only an angel from heaven could fall like that.
Woo! I'm gonna be good. Powerful Empress. He says, I feel he didn't do anything wrong except roll the dice, and unfortunately he didn't win. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Just keep playing until you win. Yep, it's a numbers game for sure. Anita says, Lord, here we go with the mail order bride thing. That's what I said. I'm not gonna let that passport brother thing slide. Joanne says, of course, Donovan would say that this man will not find a wife on a dating app. I saw this yesterday. Don't listen to Donovan and keep your head up and don't choose flashy women.
How do we know she was flashy?
How do we know she wasn't already from a different country?
True, but how do we know she was flashy? Like I said, we're all speculating. We don't know. How do we know she wasn't a big Shirley? How do we know? We don't.
So let me scratch my passport comment off, because how you know she was from here?
We don't know.
And CJ, I'm gonna call you CJ, says, stop this. People get stood up all over the world. Exactly. It ain't just here, you know. Darius, how you doing? He says, if this young man knows like me, he would follow my recommendations ASAP for the good, priceless benefits of his sanity, peace, happiness, kindness, joy, love, health, and prosperity. Understand? I think so. Only Pamela's Way, how are you doing? And how is your plant-based journey coming along? And Tito, he says, passport, that long distance simping. Oh, damn. Tanya, how you doing? And Cody, how you doing? He says, your body isn't muscular enough. So whose body? Whose body isn't muscular enough? Hey, Common Man 80, how are you doing? And oh, Black America, thank you so much for the donations. I see you gave 2 of them. I love and appreciate you for that. Did not want to forget, but you know, somehow I did skip that one and I didn't mean to. So let me go back and say he's talking like a simp, and figures you would say that. I'm going to share the link so you can come on and give us your opinion. You also say, what guy uses the word my person? You know what? A lot of people use my person. I'm just looking for my person. I know my person. I haven't used it, but I've heard other people use it. I'm looking for my person. Your average logical thinker, how you doing? Moni says, sometimes you don't have to say anything God doesn't mean for this person to be in your life. Then they won't be in your life. Demetra, what God does, it means for you, he will remove it, block it from you. That's a very strong possibility. You right about that? Tanya says she could burn catfishing, could have been catfishing herself. You see some of those Africans when they do makeup, stop it, transformations, it'd be 2 different people. Maybe. Lady Blue says, I watch different channels and I'm concluding the dating issues are universal. Very interesting. Jay Bubba, how you doing? He says, you can't do anything right. These modern women, if you want to get a woman, if you want to get a woman out your life, treat her right. That's not true. Not always. And Cody says, if you don't have at least 10 inches, man, get a career and build a nice home. I'm going to keep on going. Greater achievement, fit health. How are you doing? Your average logical thinker says, I guarantee he has had a good woman in the past and now he's scraping the bottom of the barrel. Don't come for me, please. Woo! Kiki says, see the brothers, that bothers me. I'm sorry. See how dismissive people are because he's a man. If this happens to a woman, people would be shredding the guy, on the hunt for him, damn, trying to get him fired and everything. But because he's a man, they want to put it back on him. I don't like that. Those are double standards. They definitely are. Yeah, Donovan is a mess, Tanya. And Corley says, Donovan, you're going to hell for that pitiful saying. Right, you fell from heaven. That's why I put my head down, because I was like, here we go. CJ says, what about
wait. I happen to know women love cheesy lines. That gets you in, them rolling their eyes. And if they give you time for that, you're in. You're in. That's your in.
Or you keep it pushing, sucker. CJ says, what about men that leave women at the altar? Let's not blame just one side.
Wait. Stop. Let's go by the numbers. Statistically, how many men leave women at the altar when they've probably spent all of that money to even do a marriage? I bet you it is way less than 1%. Because men are logical. We will not do that. It's very, very rare.
Rex, he says, you can't say, hey, beautiful to just random women. That's a quick way to end up getting published on YouTube as a creeper. That is very sad, actually. Marcella, how you doing? He says, my
well, wait a minute. Wait. Wait, why? See, do you see the double standard? Why is it that when men would like say, "Hey, beautiful," you're giving compliments, rightly so, to Big Shirley and everybody else, but 100% no, there's no body shaming. Everybody's a 10. All this other. See, that's what I'm saying. It's crazy. It's. You don't know, men. We can't win. They're all 10s in their minds, and we give them a compliment. Now we're creepers. Okay.
You said giving Big Shirley a compliment. That was like a what? A oxymoron or a backhanded comment?
Well, no. What I'm trying to say is all this body positivity and all this. Everybody's a 10. Everybody's a 10 in the woman's world. Then you give them a compliment. Now we're creepers. I mean, we can't win for losing.
I've never gone off or said anything sideways to a man that's giving me a compliment. Never. So that's not all women. Most women will say, "Oh, well, thank you so much. You know, that made my day," or whatever. But you know what? I don't know. Let me keep reading. Rain, how you doing? The ancestors froze Donovan up. Okay, he's back. I'm going to skip down to catch up so I can share the link. Marcella says, "I'm so glad that I don't have to do the dating scene. You don't know what you're giving a man or a woman." Yeah, it's from what I understand, it's very rough out there in them streets. And let's see here. Michael, thank you so much for the donation. Love and appreciate you for that. Angela, how are you doing? And D. Griffin, what's going on with you? And Black America, thank you once again. You say skip dinner, pay for a pro. A pro what? What are you paying for? Let's see here. Rex says, "Donovan, I guess I'll catch you when you come back." So okay, y'all talking about something else. Easy. Thank you so much for the donation. I love and appreciate you for that. Thank you so much. And Corliss, you say, "Cody, when I was in my 20s, the 10 inches might do the trick, but at damn near 50, I need my insides. Not today, Jesus." I'm gonna keep scrolling. Marjorie, how are you doing? You says, "Hi, beautiful Demetra and handsome, the recovering Democrat and the Black First Family and friends." Yes, indeed. All right. So skipping right down. I just want to make sure I'm gonna put the link up right now, Corey. So I'm scared. Joanne says, "So is bringing flowers on the first date, Donovan? You must have liked a lot of," and he says, "and usually the bride's family pays most of the bill, not the man." That is true. Traditionally, right? We're talking traditionally.
Yeah, traditionally. But in the modern age, that is not the situation. That is not the situation. Because unfortunately, a lot of the last 2-3 generations now have been raised by single mothers, unfortunately.
Sunlight, how are you, beautiful? Long time no see. I hope you are doing fabulous. All right. And Socrates.
Wait, Sunlight's back? I know. I gotta go.
Curtains. Sucker. Curtains. Socrates, how you doing? And Marjorie says, "The young man you're speaking of was on the Kendra G show, and he's on the spectrum of autism, for your information." Okay, got it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Autism, just means that you work a little differently than most, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I know you're not saying that, but I just want to kind of put that out there. Monica, how you doing? Says, "Though the young man didn't do anything wrong, the problem I see is that he's looking for completion from her instead of understanding. He has to build confidence, and the woman will be drawn to him." I like that. I figured that's what Black America was talking about, Rain, but I just wanted him to fill in the blanks.
Can I ask a question real quick, though? Nobody's talking about the fact that for whatever reasons, they set up a date to meet, and then this woman did not show up. So where's the responsibility and the humanity of doing all of this stuff, and then you don't show up? I mean, if you're not, why are you wasting his time? That's where I'm thinking about it. It's like, okay, I'm going to go. I'm going to do. We understand things happen, but you couldn't call him or say, hey, my son broke his leg at the baseball park or whatever. No, she just didn't show up. Or if she was there, she ghosted him. Where's the consideration for the other person?
Yeah, I mean, I think that deserves a discussion. And son of Kemet, how you doing? Long time no see. Says, hey guys, Demetri, did you get my inbox about the land stolen in Texas? I'll have to look. I want to also say, you guys, I know sometimes people send me inboxes, but I rarely check them nowadays, only because I get so many of them. So I just kind of just let the inbox die to some degree. But I will go and look and see what it's all about. Black America, thank you for the donation, but I figured that's what you was talking about. You says a strumpet, a harlot, for a lack of better words. Okay, I got you. All right, I'm gonna put the link in here. If I don't already know you, please show me your face before I bring you up. Conversation. Typing is not my strong suit. I suck at typing. Okay, click. All right, there we go. The link is up. It's active. And Socrates says, just kidding. I'll pay for my daughter's first wedding. Yeah, the first one, right? Now you keep on getting married. That's on you. That's on you after that, right? And Kiki says, I agree. The woman is being left off the hook. Bring Corliss up here. I'm gonna finish. Hey, girl, I'm gonna finish reading these comments. Try to get down to the bottom. Sean, how are you doing? Complex Blackness, how you doing? Says, I never thought brought any flowers on a date. Haven't had any issues either. Then again, I've always been confident. Many women have said I'm an a-hole, etc. Yet they like it. Nice guys do finish last. Okay, so you're a little bit of a bad boy. Is that what you're trying to say? And Michael
yes, says, nice guys do finish last, but Demetri will tell you, we get you in the end, because I'm sticking it to folks that just thought they were going to get away with everything.
Yeah, okay. Michael, he says, in America, we like to judge a book by its cover. All right, I'm trying to get to the bottom. Okay, yes, I made it to the bottom. Miss Corliss, what's on your mind, beautiful?
Oh, Donovan, if you don't stop talking about Big Shirley in them, they ain't Big Shirley's no more. They Big Ericas.
I hate you.
For real, if you don't stop playing, most women today, they don't even
I think your mic might be blocked.
You can't hear me?
We hear you now.
Okay. So have you guys seen the guy that goes around and he's really rich and he plays homeless and he finds all these pretty women and they just treat him like horrible. It's horrible. Then when you find out he has a little bit of money or whatever, oh, now you right, Donovan. And I'm just like, and that's the perception really of most women, because that's how they are. They don't want to be bothered, or they don't want to be bothered with somebody they think is broke. But see, my thing is, if you treat everybody right from the beginning, you can still rule out who you do and don't want to deal with, and you don't have to be nasty about it. Even Big Shirley.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. And you don't know who you're passing up, right? Because a lot of times people, especially if they're wealthy, they may not disclose that right away. Because listen, I don't want you to be glomming on to me because, I got a lot of money in the bank. I want you to get to know me and, examine me from what I put forward. If you're the one, or you may be the one, I might fill you in. But yeah, a lot of times people, do judge a book by its cover and say, look at him or look at her, I just don't know. And they be the bomb, right? And you forever regret because you found out who they were. And then damn, I passed up on the good one, right?
Donovan, until you get rid of them cats out your bed, you ain't getting no real cat in real life. Now you need to stop it.
No, but you guys make good points, because I try to tell people, don't lead with either you're negative or you're positive. Just go in there and let the person make an assumption of what they see and who you are in a conversation. I find it kind of crazy when a guy goes, "Oh yeah, I make 6, 7 figures," and he's telling a woman that because women do date up, right? They do date up, but
Some of them do date down too,
right.
Donovan.
Well, a
We ain't
lot
talking
of them
about
date
them,
down, right? A lot
and we
of
ain't talking about them 10 inches either.
right. So and it's kind of like if you look at the negative too, and I'm not like disparaging. This is not a negative comment. I'm sorry if you take it as a negative comment. I always try to tell women you don't have to tell people you're a single mother. That's evident in how you conduct yourself. Hey, I've got
Right.
kids, whatever. Well, you don't have to say, well, I'm a single mother, like that's a flex. And unfortunately, when women do that in general, it turns a lot of men off because it immediately, let's say I just meet you and you tell me you're a single mother. And let's say I don't want to deal with a woman that has kids. I'm out, I'm done with it. Whereas if I got to know you, rather than making that first assumption from what you told me, maybe I would have said, well, you know what? She's a pretty good chick. I did with a chick like that,
Demetra, if you don't take that cat thing down, talking about she like cats, Donovan, there you go. You got a cat person. Get you somebody that wear a cat suit and get rid of your other kittens. You might be all right.
Oh man, Corliss, it's something wrong with you.
Everybody say that, but they love me though.
All right, so hey, Michael, let's expound upon that. I mean, Donovan does have a lot of cats. He's an animal person. He has cats. He has a dog, and what else? He got a lot of gardening stuff, whatever. But he's got a lot of animals.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a problem for women that a man has animals?
Maybe if she ain't a veterinarian. I'm just saying, B. I'm not.
Why
See,
is that a problem for you if a man has animals?
I'm
Well,
not
I can say this.
I'm not an animal person.
Well, I can say this. I have lost a lot of relationships because of my commitment to these animals. I'll tell you that. I've lost a lot of relationships because of that.
And that's why you you Donovan, look here. Look. Okay, keep limiting your cat then.
Michael, what's on your mind?
Yes. Hi, Demetra. Hi, Demetra, Donovan, recovering Democrat, and hi, everybody else. Yes. So what's on my mind is that I really feel sorry for that guy who really want to go on a date with that woman, right? And I can empathize because I was there. I was in his shoes before about this girl I met in college. She and I were friends for 5 years. She was very down to earth, very good person. And so when I tried to ask my friend on a date, she rejected me and said to me, I want to look for a guy I want to look for a person who knows me in the short term, who could get me moving. And I asked my friend, like, what do you mean by like get you moving? Because I was thinking that, like if I've been friends with her for 5 years, I was ready to take the friendship to the next level, to dating. And it's like she never dated before, and I was the guy who's being very hypothetical at first. I mean, I didn't ask her directly, just asked her like, "Have you been on a date before?" And she said no, not really, because she was concerned a lot of men did not want to get to know her as a person, so she rejected him. And then after, I mean, for so long, after 5 years, no as friend, we just she and I are like no longer friends. After 5 years, she wanted to pursue a career. I'm sorry, no, I mean to elevate her career, moving forward. And I just don't feel like she and I had that connection anymore. And she wanted me to text, and I'm pretty much like old school. Even though I'm a millennial, I don't believe in texting because you don't get a lot out of it. I prefer like conversing, because you get the context of the situation, you understand the person, rather than just trying to like sugarcoat um things. And so, and Donovan, speaking to about your pets, right? Because I have another friend too. She has a dog as well, right? A lot of the guys she dated, right? Someone have an issue with her prioritizing her pets over a man. and some of the men like it's either me. I'm sorry, it's either us or the pet. And my friend didn't feel comfortable having to like choose either one um or and so that's that's an issue, especially with women. I think men have an issue with women, prioritizing their pets more than pay attention to their men, right, on dates. And I've seen this, coming, you know back and forth. And I'll say this: if you guys watch Austin Hellerman on YouTube, he said something when he was in, I think, Kenya. He said most women in Kenya, and I'm just quoting, or more actually they're more interested in men. So when they see the brothers for the first time in Kenya, right, they're actually more like interactive. They're more tingly. They're more like they want to get to know the men more. So they're more likely to approach men, unlike in America where men have to chase women. So the dating culture and the dating scene in the African continent is very different.
Yeah.
Well, first,
Go ahead.
Michael, see the
Yeah,
way we were raised, the women. Well, I don't know. I can't speak of all women. This new generation, they flocking and hawking. I ain't doing all that. The older generation, my grandmother always taught us that men are to pursue women. Women are
right,
not supposed to pursue men, right? So I
right,
don't know what they doing over there in their country with they animals, but I ain't no animal person. I got kids. So
but actually,
I ain't need animals, and I ain't gonna be over here looking at no animals versus a man because I don't want no animal in my bed anyway. And
right.
then the question about your friend, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you said you and your friend, y'all were friends for 5 years.
Yeah, we met in
What gave
college.
you what gave you the insinuation that um she may have wanted to endeavor in that side of the water versus
Ah,
just being your friend?
yeah, because I got to know her for 5 years. We talked about like a lot of stuff, politics, and she's like very down to earth, very smart, right? And
Hmm.
I'm a guy who likes to approach, I'm a guy who likes to I'm a guy who likes to approach the situation cautiously before saying, before dating, like get to know the person like over time as opposed to like overnight. Because that's the way this is the way how I operate, how I think. I don't like to jump in a date so quickly, and then it turns like sour. You know what I mean? Going forward.
So I'm just saying, like, what most of the time when you have friends like that and you leave the friend zone, it's some type of sexual attraction. It's
No,
some
it's not
type of
sexual.
something
No, it's not
between.
sexual. It was not sexual. She thought that it was sexual. No, no, no. For me, it was not sexual. No, I just saw the character in my friend. Like she was, like I said, she's very down to earth. Very nice. Very very understanding. So that's what I saw in her. Really, her character. I didn't care about her appearance, to be honest. Well, maybe she thought that. Maybe she thought I was looking at it in that way. No, that was not the direction I was looking at. And so, like I said, a lot of women in America. I'm not judging all women in America, but most women in America like to assume that men like to perceive women sexually. That's not the case. Not a majority of men. I'm sure there's some men who do that, but you'd be surprised. A lot of men want to get to know women, like who they are, what they can add, what can they provide. I'm sorry, what they can add to the table. Can they cook, clean, work? Are they like, good people, good human beings? Do they care about, okay, if they're to meet my mom, my dad, my brothers and sisters, were they able to get along well in addition to having a man to provide? And I'll say this correlates too. And by the way, in the African nations, not a majority of African nations where people are animal loving. So I just wanted to correct you on that. Is Just wanted to correct you on that, because the dating scenes in Africa, like South Africa, Cape Town, Johannesburg, the dating scene is like it's more modern. It's more modern than like what we see in the media. You see, the problem is that the media likes to paint the African continent as, oh, everything's about the Sahara nation. Oh, people live in tea huts. That's not the case. If you go to Kenya, you go to South Africa, you'd be surprised. It's actually booming. It's just like it's booming like America. So you might want to consider traveling to the continent, Corliss, to get a broader perspective.
because she accidentally clicked off. But anyway, I thank you, Michael. Hopefully, you find the love of your life, if that's what if you haven't already. Um, Somebody you can be happy with, and that's on the same page as you. But I'm gonna let you go so I can bring other people up. But thank you so much for coming on.
Oh yeah, you.
But what I want to say on this topic, when it comes to animals, okay, when you make a commitment, a person that has animals and is committed to those animals, number one, that shows you a person who is committed to what they say they're going to do and how they're going to do it. Now, we have family members, right? So when a person says, I will willy-nilly give up my dog or my cat because I want to get in this relationship, that's a person I would not trust, because if I was on life support, that would be a person that would pull the plug, because they're not committed to anything. So we have children. And I hate when I have neighbors that do this and people that do this. I got a new job in Arizona, so I've got to get rid of my dog. The dog has been with you for 12 years. And now you're just going to throw the damn dog away like it means nothing. It wasn't a family member. It didn't give you love. It didn't give you comfort. To me, when people do that, it shows a lot about their character. It doesn't mean that they're a bad person, but it's a person that I couldn't trust to be with, that's going to be with me through thick and thin. Now, Demetra will sit here and tell you, I could put up with a lot of things, but when you mess with my dog and my cat like that, oh, it's not going to happen. I'm not giving the dog up, whatever. I will fight you for my dog and my cat, because like family members, I will protect them and do what I have to do. So, everybody's got a different opinion about it. Some people they're naturally taught to fear animals, and that's okay if you're taught that way. But the point is, when you have a family member that's been with you for 8, 12, whatever years it's been in the family, and you're going to give it up for a relationship, if I'm looking at it, that's a person I can't trust. That shows to me that you're not committed to anything. Because if you can't even commit to a damn animal, how the hell are you going to commit to me?
Donovan, I got some things that I done had, some pets that I have for a few years, and that's some real come.
I think your mic might be blocked again. There you go.
I said I got some things that I didn't have for 12 years, and honey, let some real relationships come. I'm packing them, and they on the other side of the door with their goldfish or whatever else they got.
I'm watching the conversation. I'm seeing people, talk about kids and pets. Some people saying that women don't want to come second, and to kids or pets, and vice versa. I guess all of that is true. TG Hamilton, how you doing? He says, if you can't tolerate my dog, you can go. And I always say, for people who have pets, you should definitely get with other people who have pets, because that doesn't make any sense to me. If you are a pet owner, let's take my guy Donovan, for example. He's got the Wow Animal Kingdom at his house. Now, to me, it would make sense if you date a woman that, is open to pets or has pets herself. Because I don't know, I don't want to say most sisters, because I don't want to generalize. Maybe I'm just thinking about myself. I'm not a pet person, right? So I probably wouldn't date a guy that's got a bunch of pets. I just wouldn't do it. But
my cat Tylen loves Demetra. He loves her toes and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I'd be trying to tear my feet up like. But I wouldn't date a man that has pets, because I know it would be unfair to say, well, I like you, but your pets gotta go. You went. Let's call the animal shelter and find them and rehome them, right? And that would be selfish for me to do. So I wouldn't get with a man that is staunch. Like Donovan loves pets. I'm telling you, the pets, the cats, the stray cats will go. We hear that you got room for more, and then Donovan's like, no. Then pretty soon the cat's got his own credit card. It's chipped. It's got the top of the line, this, that, and the other, right? He just got all these cats, and I love Donovan for that, because he loves pets. However, there are some sisters that's just like, I'm a pass, or you need to get rid of them.
Hey, Demetra, Donovan, like where Jesus had to go in the inn. Is there a room in the inn with all the animals?
That's Donovan.
Donovan.
That you crazy easy talking about Donovan got a zoo at his house. Pretty much. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that. I saw somebody says animal lovers, they're very compassionate, and they are. I would say Donovan is super compassionate, and it's expensive. Like Donovan is not the kind of pet owner that says, okay, well, I got this dog. I'm going to tie it up to the backyard and keep it outside. Like let me tell y'all a story just really quickly. We were in Costa Rica, right? Enjoying Costa Rica. He gets a call over his dog that was being taken care of by somebody, and you know, some unpleasant things happen. And, you know, I guess the people didn't treat Donovan's dog the way he felt she should be treated. And from that point on, the whole trip, well, the trip wasn't ruined, but he was in a bad mood. He was like, and I'm paraphrasing, how dare they treat my dog that way? I would never. And it wasn't funny because I know Donovan and how he feels about his pets. He was distraught, like they locked her up in the bathroom and took off. And he's like, I would never do that to my dog.
Or to my friend's dog. My friend had a dog.
Mm-hmm. So he really, his animals are like his family. They're not just some things that he collects. They're like, he's got like 2 tombstones of cats that was near and dear to him in his backyard. Like Donovan, they're not even pets. They're like people to him. You know, I know that sounds weird, but they are, right? They just are. So whatever lady comes into Donovan's life, you're going to have to be a pet person, period. But I always tell Donovan that. He says, I was talking to this young lady or this woman, and she says I had to get rid of my pets. And I'm like, why was you talking to her in the first place? That's kind of, to me, one of the things almost like, do you like children? Because I have a whole house full of them. Are you good with kids? That's, to me, that's in the same conversation, you know, but who am I? All right, so let me see who else is on here. I don't want to skip down and catch up.
Yeah, you know, and Rain makes a good point. How many of you guys, you might not like pets, but you have kids that like pets, and you know, maybe your significant other like pets, whatever. And one good thing about pets is this, especially when you have kids, and this is another thing. It has been proven statistically that kids that grow up with pets, especially boys, because of the responsibility it takes to take care of a pet, they will wait later on in life to have children themselves because they know what it takes to do all of that good stuff. But it's just like Rain said there. How many of you got kids and then they grow up, they go off to college, and then they leave the damn animals with you? Even though you had no responsibility with them, they leave the animals with you. This is what I tell parents to tell their kids. It's another teaching lesson. It's okay to leave the animals with me. Make sure you send pet support, just like as if it would be child support.
I want to address this comment here because I really want to have a conversation about this. Common Man 80 says, my daughter comes before any woman. If the woman can't handle that, she's not for me. And my daughter is 40 years old, but if she needs me, I'm there. 100% facts. Yep. Donovan, what are your thoughts on that? And be careful, sucker. Be careful how you answer this because I'm going to be on yo. Go ahead.
All right, I'm going to answer this as best I can. Number one, if my daughter is unmarried, that means she has no protection. She is unmarried. It is the father's duty to protect his daughter. Simple as that, cut and dry, no questions asked. However, even though she's 40, now let's say she's been married before and she's left the house. I've walked her down the aisle. When a father walks his daughter down the aisle, he is passing protection onto the man she's marrying. So if she's been married before, yeah, I'm going to protect her in a sense, but she's been in the world, so she should know to make good decisions. So in the aspect, yes, you should be there for your daughter 100%. 100%.
All right. Stop right there. I know you, my guy. Now, had that been a woman saying my child comes first, no matter what, you'd have been on her like white on rice. Oh, that's what's wrong with women. How you gonna put your child before a man? That's why you can't never find no man, because you gotta put your child before that man. That's why I said, be careful, sucker.
Well, it's funny that you brought that up. I was talking to my mom this morning, and we were talking about like an issue. And my mom said this, and I know people might not agree with it or anything like this, but my mom believes you don't put children before you put your husband. Now, if we're talking about stepdads and stuff in the modern age, that's something totally different. But think about it in the hierarchy way things are supposed to be done. Your husband is the one out there working, is bringing home the money, the majority of the thing. He's the protector and he's the provider and all this other stuff. Now, if the child is an infant, of course, really men would say, yeah, feed the babies first. But in the priority of things, I would think, yeah, you would put the man first to make sure he's strong and fed and stuff like that, and make sure he's squared away. Then come the children, because after the children are gone, it's still you and him. Do you see what I'm saying? So I would agree with my mom back in the day when she was coming up. I don't know about today's standard, but back in the day, yeah, that's your husband. You've been with that person. The husband comes first.
Rex, you say when women say my child comes before you, I have no problem with it, but I'm not gonna date her. I wish her luck though. So he's basically saying he's not going to date that woman. But I just found that interesting that a man, common man, says that, same thing. Oh, well, my daughter comes before any woman. Basically, I don't care under any circumstances. And so I just, in my head, I was like, wow, if a woman said that, she'd be all kind of, no good, modern woman and all this other stuff. But interesting. Very interesting. All right, so let me see here. I put the link in the comment section if y'all want to come on here. TG Hamilton says, I don't care if your daughter is a married adult. Okay. And Joanne says, Donovan is family. Our family is family. Do you have an age limit? They'll need you at 60. So is that something y'all were having a conversation in the comment section?
Wait, but say that again. Say that one more time.
She says, where'd it go? Where did we go? Oh, here it is.
Family is family. Do you have an age limit? They'll need you at 60. Well, unfortunately, I'm from the old school type, being raised. And, again, my mother was a widow, so I didn't have a father I had a stepfather, but that was a totally different, horrible scenario. But my real father passed during the Vietnam War. Me personally, I have equipped my children with all the tools that they need to be successful out there in the world. If they can't be successful, that's on them. And I refuse, even though these are my children, to support grown-ass men. That's just my take on it.
And stop white on white crime. That's funny. Say, how you doing, by the way? So that's a biblical concept. Can you elaborate on putting the husband first? Maybe an example. Well, since you referenced the Bible, it does say in the Bible that, your husband and your wife come first. It says, you are supposed to cleave on to each other and all those things. And I just think it makes sense that your husband or your wife comes first before your mama, their mama, the children, everybody else. But unfortunately, and I ain't talking about, somebody you just kind of seeing every once in a while. I'm talking about your husband and your wife or your wife. But a lot of times people get that wrong. My children come first. I don't care. And it's like, well, it's not supposed to be that way. And I think a lot of times people think you're saying to discard the children. No, they don't matter. That's not what it's saying. It's just saying we are one. And we come before everybody else. Even the Bible says, to women or anybody, I would imagine, that your household comes before the church even, right? So they make an important emphasis on the household being the nucleus, right? The most important aspect. So in the household, there's a hierarchy. There's a man, there's a woman, but you should not put your children before your husband or your wife. And that's even if the children do not belong to that man. If you've remarried, the children don't come before him. Not to say that you're going to throw them away, put them in the back seat. They don't matter. They just don't come first, and vice versa. So I hope that helps. I know a lot of people are like, what? But that's the way it should be. Tanaya, how you doing? If I didn't already say, says I kind of agree, disagree at the same time because you hear kids talk about their mom putting the man before the kids. It's just all how you do it. Like I said, if
Right,
you
but is it the father or is it the stepfather or the boyfriend? That's different. If it's the boyfriend, no, you shouldn't do that. But I'm talking an aspect of the husband. The guy that's there, the husband, the biological father.
and Rainey says I've never put a man before my children, not even their father. My children were my first priority. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what school of thought you adhere to, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that in your household, but I would think that the your husband or wife should come first. That way, you get on a common page. Because can you imagine being married to somebody, whether you're the children's biological parent or not, and you're always hearing it don't matter, my kids come first. That's like for the last couple of years, I haven't seen it lately. Thank God. I want to conjure it up. We've been seeing a conversation of who gets the plate first, your husband or the kids. And it's like the answers are all over the place. My children gonna eat first. My children or my husband or whatever. And I'm 52 years old, so I've grown up from seeing. Now my father, he was out working, and he came home late, so we ate, and then he ate when he was at home. But I didn't come from the school of thought where the children would have eaten first. But I didn't think that it was disrespectful of my grandmother or my mom. Like, oh, they're horrible people. I didn't think anything of it because, if the man is out there, he's working and he's paying the bills, yeah, he should probably eat first. But I don't know. It's just something else to argue about, to be honest. And Daryl, you say y'all fake and broke. All right.
I would do a Gary Wayne Monroe. Your mama fake and broke, damn it. Like, don't come over here with that foolishness. Like, what?
Period.
Anywho, I just had to get that out my I just had to get that out. But anywho, no, I was gonna say, like, even when my kids were younger, right? And I was married before, I would make my kids play first. And I would make my kids play first, but I would serve him first. So I don't know if that makes a difference. That's just how I always did it. Like, it wasn't, oh, I make kids play first and then I make my kids. I made my kids play first. I sat them to the side, but I always served them first.
Right. Yanni 2436 says, my mom's husband is still providing for his 35-year-old unwed daughter and her 2 kids. It is a huge problem. And Yanni, I agree with you. It is a huge problem because she isn't facing any consequences. He's supporting her as a grown woman. So when is she going to, say, oh, you know what, Dad, I don't need the money. Who's going to turn down money that somebody's going to support you like that? I get that aspect of it. But as long as you keep doing that, she has no incentive to stop. She has no incentive.
Donovan, I'm gonna turn it down because I feel like at this point, you 35 years old, you got 2 kids. So if you was out there wiggling and jiggling, producing life, but you ought to know out here how to get out here and hustle to take care of your children by any means necessary. That's just what real women do. But that's definitely a problem.
Right. Or, not just that. The number one question that should be asked is, where is the daddy financially to support the children that are coming here? Be it 1, be it 2. That's what I'm saying. There's no accountability being held. And this is the problem with the generations after Generation X. We're living our lives. Grandma's raising the kids. Now grandma has finally died, or what, Big Mama's finally passed on or whatever. And all the grandkids were raised in the house. They were never taught anything because grandma always supplemented them. Grandma always did this. It becomes a house of horrors. And then the kids are in their 30s, and they don't know how to survive because grandma comes from a totally different era to where we're at today. And we're liable because these are our children that we should have been raising to begin with.
Yeah. And I just feel like depending on whatever the circumstances are, but I definitely wouldn't be with a man who is taking care of his 35-year-old daughter with 2 children and she's unwed. It sounds like he may be a part of the problem. He maybe co-signs it or he excuses it or whatever. And I would just say in some situations, not just in theirs, but in a lot of other situations, that's really who his wife is. That's who he is beholden to, his 35-year-old daughter. Now, I'm not talking about anything incestuous, but if she is more important than the opinion of his wife, and and Yanni, believe you said it was your mom. I mean, your mom is right. You teach her some skills where she can get out there and fly on her own. But I often find that when parents behave like that with their children who have children that are unwed, they keep bringing more and more home, right? They bring more children home because they're not responsible. Oh, daddy will take care of it. Mommy will take care of it. And they're not taught any skills. Corliss?
Sometimes too, parents do that out of guilt. Like they allow their children to guilt them into um assisting with taking care of them or whatever. But honey, I had a mama that was like, okay, guilt is over.
Right. Well,
It's a no for me.
yeah, and and it's kind of funny that you say that. Like you're always hearing stories of, you know, ladies wanting, needing help, and they're single moms and stuff, and all good and great to that. But this also goes back to the origin, regardless if the father's there or not. And I know women are doing the best that they can, but it's what's messed up is we teach the girls to the best of their ability because girls can identify with somebody that looks like them, and we love the boys. This is why these boys don't know how to take care of a family. They don't know how to do certain things because we're not teaching them. We're not teaching them responsibility. We're not teaching them anything. A lot of these guys are becoming effeminate because they are around women all the time.
Absolutely. Common Man, I see you're on here, but your device is not connected. So it might be an internet thing. I can't bring you up until you connect because it won't let me. So just make sure you have a good connection because I know a lot of times you like to come on here and impart wisdom on us, but sometimes your connection won't let you. So as soon as you're able to connect, I can bring you up. Marjorie says, if a new couple without children putting each other first is a priority, that's the way my mom and dad did. And my mom always made sure she prepared my dad's meal first if he was going to be late. And yeah, and Rex, I also saw you say, just make sure there's enough food. Oh, obviously. But I'm telling you, there are some people out there, I hate to say this, I've known of some women who will prepare their man a steak, lobster, and then the children are eating top ramen.
I hate it going to Winco and seeing that basket full of top ramen and stuff, and the no good boyfriend got the lobster and the steak.
You know what?
And I'm paying for it.
When I was like 19 and I just started dating my daughter's father, he's in the service and stuff, and he's got buddies that are in the service. And the running joke, and of course Donovan knows this, the running joke was she looking for a man with some benefits, right? That was like if a woman was to go meet a military man, and she looking for a man with some benefits because y'all military, y'all got some good benefits. So he had a friend that was visiting this woman, and she happened to live in the same apartment complex as he did, and his friend was staying over. So he went over and she invited my daughter's father. We weren't having a baby at the time, but for context, that's who he is. Invited my daughter's father over. Like 5 minutes later, he comes back. I said, what happened? He says, I couldn't eat over there. I said, why? What was going on? He says, she was trying to feed me and my friend steak and lobster and feed her children top ramen. And he was like, nah, I wasn't going to be sitting there eating those steak and lobsters while her children ate, top ramen. So he told her, no, thank you. I'm going to, go back to the house. I was like, wow. Now, mind you, I'm 19. I was like, people really do that kind of stuff. They really, feed their children top ramen while they give their man steak and lobster. It blew me away. And I never forgot that. But I guess she was trying to secure a man, right? I want to treat you really good and all of that. And at the time, he just looking for something to do. You know what I mean? They didn't stay together, but I just thought that was really a bad look. You know what I mean? And Michael says, my older friend does not want to leave her dog to a pet sitter before going on a date. That's something serious. Y'all be having to find pet sitters and all kind of stuff. That sounds like a whole nother child. And Virgin Love 8, how are you doing? It says, my dad always asked, are you all right? And I was married with 2 kids. I think daddies are just that way. I never took it. Well, yeah, your father is supposed to ask, if my daddy just called me right now. Are you all right? Let me know if you need something. Don't hesitate to call me. Let me know. Are you good? So good dads do that. I don't care how old you are. They're going to make sure you're good because they don't want their baby girls, especially wanting for nothing, right? I was raised with the premise of from my dad, I want to make sure my girls are good because I don't want them out there having to, think they need to do some strange things for some change from a dude. So he, taught us to be self-sufficient and he made sure that we had what we needed. So yeah, that's how dads are, right? Especially good dads. They gonna look out for their daughters.
Well, you also got to remember, it's just like when I met your dad asking about your sister. Your dad told me I wasn't fit to walk amongst men. And then he said, but then a quick story, you guys. You guys seen The Color Purple? He said, you can't have that one, but you can have this one right here.
Right. She ain't fresh.
She ain't fresh. You can have this one right here.
I'm fresh enough though. Okay.
No, but I agree with that concept in regards to it, but you gotta cut the strings first. Okay, I'm gonna give you a better example. If you are teaching your children the best that way you can, what you're supposed to do is let the strings go to see the concepts that you have put into your children if they're going to make the right decisions. How do you do that if you don't give them the space? So your kid comes, you say, well, Dad, I'm going to the school dance. I'll be back at 10, right? Okay, great. You say, yeah, go be back at 10. If that boy is not back at 10 o'clock, you get in that ass because that's what they said. They're going to be back at 10. But when you get into yourself where you keep giving them slack, you keep giving them slack, you keep giving them slack, you're giving them this, you're giving them the PlayStation, you're giving them the Air Jordans, you're doing everything that you can do. And this child can still not, as a grown person, be successful in the world. Everybody makes mistakes. That's okay. But when do you cut the apron strings for your self-preservation? Because as you get into your 50s and your 60s and stuff, your insurance is going up, all the stuff like that's going up. You got the grandkids that need this, the grandkids that need that at the benefit of your health. Because I look at it this way. The longer I am here, the better it is for my grandkids and my great grandkids to get better wisdom than what they're going to be dealing with in regards to support. Because I have a lot of friends that are checking out of here in their 50s right now. And everything that they worked for is just being taken by the man, be it taxes, houses, whatever, because the kids have no knowledge of taking care of that. A lot of them got into drugs and doing all this other stuff. So you got to think about that. Self-preservation first. Self-preservation first. Once the kids are grown, I've done my job. Hey, I'm out. A good example, that Carly girl that went missing. Everybody's talking about her parents should be charged. This girl's 26 years old. Why would the parents be charged unless they were involved in it, which I don't think they were? She's 26 years old. She has to stand on her own 2 feet at this point. When does it stop? So basically, a lot of you guys that say, yeah, you should help them out, you shouldn't help them out. You should have that child never leave the home, stay with you until you die and see how everything turns out, because it doesn't make sense. Why go through all of that if they can't go out into the world and stand on their own 2 feet? I'm just speaking for myself. My boys know they can't come to dad for nothing but advice at this point because I will not financially help them out. Nobody was there to help me out. You want to know why? My father was dead. So that's a great excuse for him not helping me out. But even if he was alive, I had all of the tools I needed to be successful in this world, period.
So yeah, and everybody is different. Your average logical thinker says my grandpa provided down payments for every car my mom got, even after she married twice. And some fathers, want to do that. There's nothing wrong, especially if it's not, because Daddy, I need a car, and I don't know what to do. Because I think most fathers at that point will say, well, what about your husband? He can't help you get a car, right? Or whatever. But I think everybody is different. Now, you guys know I have a 30-year-old daughter, and she's not married. She doesn't have any children. My daughter, she lives with me. She can leave anytime she wants. In fact, she's like I'm going back to Cali. I don't belong. These ain't my people here in Houston. In fact, my daughter probably is in California probably once a month at this point, right? But she can stay here until she gets with a young man, preferably her husband, right? And they go build a life together. But I always say this, and I don't care who like it. Other races, they don't do that to their children, especially their daughters. I'm not talking about some, daughters that's out there just making babies with, copious amount of dudes and wanting to come home and want mom and dad to help take care of that. Nah, you gonna have to get it out the mud, right? Because I had my daughter at 21. I had a great mom, R.I.P. God rest her soul. I had a fabulous mom. My mom would do anything for my daughter. The only thing she would not do is totally take her off my hands, right? And not that I asked her to, but my mom had the ideology of you had her and you gonna take care of her. And I was glad that that's the kind of mom I had. Like I said, my mom would help me do anything, whatever it was. But I was glad that I had that mom because it's like, imagine if she would have been one of those moms, and no shade to those type of grandmas. That's my baby. Bring up the baby over here. I want where my baby at. Bring my baby. My mom did things with the grandchildren, but she was like, those are y'all children. Now I'm footloose and I'm fancy free and I'm out there. I'm going to do me type of thing, right? But my mom made sure that I raised my child and she gave me great advice and things like that. And it's probably one of the reasons why I only have one child amongst a whole host of them. But I had a good mom and she made sure that I was going to be there to raise my child. Now, don't get me wrong. My mom did help me often, but she didn't help me do nothing. She didn't help me get out there and procreate with a bunch of dudes and, take care of my children. No. And I wasn't raised that way. So it worked out for me. And I also raised my daughter that way. Don't make that. Like I always tell people when they ask me, well, yeah, you ain't got no grandchildren. And I always say to them, why are you asking me about a grandchild and you haven't asked me about a son-in-law? That's backwards. We're so busy. You ain't got no grandkids. And first of all, I'm only, and I said only 52 years old. Okay. Now I know some people with some grandchildren, however, it ain't me. But ask me about a son-in-law before you ask me about children. My daughter's not bringing no children in here unwed. We've had that conversation from as long as I can remember. So hopefully, yeah, and I'm pretty sure, she ain't going to be bringing no children onto this earth unless she got a husband with her. Like on the game of life where you get a husband and then you get some kids. So let's see here. I put the link in if y'all want to come on and, say something. And let's see here. I want to make sure I'm not skipping anybody that I have not seen.
Right. So somebody said that, times have changed and things are different. I always hear that excuse, and I'm going to say it's an excuse. Times may be changed, but how you live doesn't. The foundation of life hasn't changed. The same thing that applied 100 years ago, you can still apply it today, and it'll work. I mean, a lot of us call ourselves Christians and Muslims and all this other stuff. So basically, what I'm picking up is your theory is that book has no relevance. Like you have Christians that say, well, the Old Testament has no relevance. Jesus Christ came and he changed all of that. So basically what you're saying is the book of Leviticus, which tells you how to clean your ass and what you're supposed to do in regards of living, has no relevance. The 10 Commandments has no relevance. Everybody that did anything back in the Old Testament, it has no relevance, which to me is not true. You're not supposed to go and kill people. You're supposed to honor your parents. You're supposed to not covet your neighbor's wife, and you're not supposed to steal. So basically, it should be a free-for-all out here, but it's not because it has relevance. So when people say, oh, well, times have changed. Yes, times have changed, but the foundation of how to live in a civilized civilization hasn't. Look at our laws. You got laws that go back over 100 years that are still on the books.
And I want to read Rex's comment. And, he's a man. He says, I was lucky. My pops was good for advice, but if I failed, he would offer me a place to land. I had to be picking myself back up, though. No hanging out, not trying to get back on my feet. And
that's how I feel about my boys. Exactly. As long as they are willing to keep going. You can't be coming up here talking about, hey, I'm going to this party and you living up off of me. That ain't going to happen. But that's again that's how men actually think. We think like, hey, no, there is no, you ain't got no party time when you're supposed to be 24/7 thinking about getting on your feet and getting back out there. I'm not saying my boys can't come back, but you ain't gonna come back and talk about, well, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. Dad, I can't. No, that's not gonna happen. No.
And Rain says 25 is still living at home. When my children moved out, they knew there was no coming back. They can sink or swim. My girls never, hands are never out for me for anything. I would say I've had to go back home once when it did not work out with my daughter's father. And my mom, she said, hey, come here. And I got on my feet. I worked 3 jobs, got my own place. I wasn't there long, but I did get on my feet. But I thank God that I had a mom and, other people too. But my mom specifically, I thank God for her. I thank God that I didn't have that type of mom that's like, well, you made your bed, now you lying that you can't come back here. My mom said, yeah, come on, come on here. Because I was working. I was never one of those people just out in the street partying. Once I had my daughter, I stopped going to the club. From the time I had my daughter at 21 to now, I've probably been to the club probably 5 times. And the last time I went was in Vegas for my sister's birthday. We walked in and did a U-turn. 5 minutes. So what I'm saying is, I wasn't that type of person just out there kicking my heels up and my legs in the air. None of that kind of stuff. I was about it, right? So my mom helped me. So I thank God that she allowed me to come back home, and on top of that, experiencing a broken heart. I'm a young girl out there with a child, just going through a lot. And I told you guys that story. I ain't gonna tell it again because me and my baby daddy good. But he pretty much abandoned us. Came home to an apartment with nothing. He moved out.
Why weren't you acting right? He wouldn't have abandoned you. Were acting right. I don't mean to laugh about it, but I'm just saying.
My daughter's father told my daughter a year ago, your mom has always been the sweetest person. She never did anything to deserve what I did to her.
Right. But you also got to look at it like this. Remember, he had his mom and he loves his mom, whatever. And like we always say, she'll always have her things, despite the things this troubled world can bring. Oh, and that's the way we're raised about our moms, right? Mom could do no wrong in a son's eyes because we're brainwashed to think like that, right? And and that brings the selfishness into us in how we treat our women. In my opinion, you see a lot of guys will treat the women that they're with because of what was put into their heads by their mothers. They'll put their mother above their woman or their wife.
And I will say this, and I've said this before, and I don't care who doesn't like it. And I'm gonna say this to men and women. If your significant other is, before y'all go jump over the broom or whatever, you see that they are extra glommed on to their mom. My mama said, my mama this, my mama that. Oh, my mama, I got that. My mama this, my mama that. Or even the daddy, whoever. That ain't gonna work. Because in a lot of cases, their mama is their wife. I ain't talking about non-sexual, but then again, it's 2023. But a lot of cases, that is their wife. They can't make no decisions without their mama. It's about their mama, my mama, my mama, my mama. And it's like, and why you out here looking for a woman again? You got a mama to do everything for you. What are you doing? I get it. I guess you need a warm hole, I guess. I don't know. But that should be very concerning. If you hear your potential significant other talk about their mama all the time, and that is a mama's boy, or in other cases, a daddy's girl, right? Well, my daddy, you would never measure up to my daddy. My daddy this and my daddy that. You know what? You might need to go be with your daddy.
Right. And I don't know in your situation, Demetra, but only a man that's getting advice from his mother would up and leave his woman and his child and just like leave like that, because that's something, he would get from a woman's perspective, saying, okay, my mom says I should go. Well, let me get my stuff and go.
And it wasn't even his mom. He just,
Right.
he just found something else, like a grasshopper or something else was, showing him attention. And, he was like, all right, deuces, whatever. But I would say this is just me. It's just my heart. My daughter's father, he found himself down on his luck a few times because he's not originally from California. He's from North Carolina. He didn't have nobody but, my family. And there's a time where he needed a place to stay. And I got on my feet, got my own little place and everything. And I said, you can sleep on my couch for as long as you like. And he did. Now, I would have been within my rights to say, sucker. You know how you did me? I came home and there was no couch, But I was like, you my daughter's father. There's no way you're going to be out here and you're going to be doing bad if I can help it, right? My daughter's father and I weren't together since she was like 1. When my daughter was like a teenager or maybe a little younger than that, he again fell on hard times and he went and stayed with my mom for like a year. So, he just was young, found something else and, it didn't work out or whatever. But in the process, I, was left with abandonment issues that even as an adult, it took me, some time to really kind of work through those things. So, but, it's all love now. What's up, Carlos?
Sorry, y'all. I had to step off for a second. But I have a friend that says that too. Like, she's a namesake. And she posted about that. And I was like, girl, I'm like, what? She was like, oh, yeah, it's okay if his mom, comes before me. I said, no, better you than me. Because I'm not going to, no. Now, she can sit in the front seat of the car when we go somewhere. That don't bother me. But running my household, absolutely not. Not gonna happen.
Right. Black America says your sister is fine too. One day I'm gonna try to get her on here. My sister is a mess.
Oh no, my brother, you got to get your own.
Arniba, you say it is a free for all for many who say they are Christian because they think Jesus died to give them a free right to heaven. So I think you responded to somebody. Rexy says that's the sad part of our culture and why we struggle to get ahead. There's no uplifting from the previous generation. Our cultures don't let their children struggle. Yeah, I say this all the time. We are the only race that puts our children out to struggle. You grown now. You're 18. You got to go. That shit. It's time for me to do me. And it's like you put the child out. You didn't teach the child nothing. When I say nothing at all. You didn't teach him no survival skills. You didn't teach him about money. You didn't teach him anything. Now that he reached his age of majority, which is 18, doesn't mean they're grown, right? You put them out and they struggle because it was probably done to you. And so at some point in time, you have to break the chains, right? And say, all right, if I'm going to put my child out the house at 18, they're going to be put out with a nest egg because I may save some money for them. I've taught them how to manage that money. They're going to have some skills, but just to put them out there. And a lot of times, especially when you do it to girls, they do get out there and do some things they're not proud of to survive. They get with any old lackluster buster doing anything, just all kind of stuff. And the boys, they end up getting into stuff they shouldn't be getting into because they're just trying to figure it out. And so I would impress upon us as Black people to rethink that. Stop putting your children out the house at 18 just because they are adults. That's effed up, actually. Now,
this is the crazy thing. So with me, I always said that I wouldn't do that, right? So I always tried to keep my kids in like long enough to go finish college. You want a master's degree? I mean, do everything you need to do before you hit the door. Okay, that's the type of mother I was. I'd be so glad when I get grown and I get on my own. Oh, okay. I can do this by myself. You can. All right. You sure? Because it's hard out there. So I gave them free reign. You want to go live with your girlfriend? Y'all want to go get a house together and play house? It burned up every which way but loose. And I'm like you, Demetra. Oh, come on home. But when they leave this time, Donovan, They're gonna have a free fall because I'm gonna put a when they come back to that address, it's gonna be somebody else living there.
See, but everybody keeps missing my point, though. If you've given your children all of the tools that they need to make good decisions, to do this and to do that, why would they need to come back home?
Everybody fall on hard times, Donovan.
No, I get that. But if you've given them everything they need to make great decisions, to think things out before whatever the deal is. Nobody wants your child out there because, well, I can't come home and I'm just going to sit here on the street. That ain't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about they're not out there willy-nilly and doing this and doing that. And I'll give you a better example, a true story. I have a neighbor right now. She has a son. He went through some stuff. Maybe it's a mental thing or whatever. He lost this baby with a girl he wasn't married to, whatever, right? Got on drugs or whatever. This man is 38 years old. This lady is on a pension from the city of Carson, wherever she's at. Neighbor of mine, nice lady. This man is ruining this woman financially right now because her motherly instincts is to, oh, he needs this. He needs a phone. The guy gets the phone. He destroys the phone. Doesn't even care because he's on drugs. He's out there. She gives him money. He's buying drugs with it, right? I had to go and tell her, I know you love your son. I know you do. But if you really love him, stop answering his calls. Stop doing this. Stop doing that. I said, because at the rate you're going to be homeless and out there. Self-preserve. You can't help him if you can't even help yourself. So what I'm saying is, I don't know. Everybody goes through things, but again, if they're equipped to make logical decisions and do those things, you shouldn't fall in that. I mean, there were times when I'm out there fighting for my life with my military buddies, and we're sitting in a tent in the middle of Afghanistan. We're sitting there and we're drinking because we don't know if we're going to get shot the next day or whatever the deal is. But as these idiots are drinking, I said, well, I don't know about anything else, but I want to be conscious to make good decisions so I can make it home. And that's what I'm saying. I was given the knowledge to always be in my faculties to make good decisions, regardless of what comes at me. I can't make good decisions if I'm beaming out of here like Scotty, going up to the Star Trek Enterprise, and I'm just digging myself into a bigger and bigger hole. Do you see what I'm saying? So when I say having all of the tools to make the right decisions, that's what I'm saying. If you've equipped them to do that, equip them with real life to what's really going to happen out there, not this fantasy land of how it's supposed to be, but how it actually is, how could they come back home?
And I would say this, and Michael, let me go ahead and bring you back a little bit later on, if you don't mind. I would say this, I agree with Corliss, and I mean, I agree with you too, but that things happen. You know, you can give them all the skills, tools, and everything that you can imagine. I would tell y'all right now, I think I was pretty equipped to be out there. I left home when I was 19 years old, and all but once, actually twice. I was in a house fire. I went to live with my mom, and then for about a month, and then I left. I think I was armed with a lot of necessary skills. My younger brother's almost 10 years younger than me. And I, along with my sister and my brother, we were like parents to him, you know, because
Professor Smitty is a big dude
and a very smart guy, you know, but he was more like my child. And he'll tell you to this day, yeah, like she was like my mom. At a very young age, we took care of him. I remember my little brother being such a newborn, right? So little taking care of him. And so I think I was equipped. I was cleaning house like nobody's business. When I was, 10, I started working on my own, like when I was 14. Of course, I earned money in other ways. My dad had a business, so I knew a little bit about money. So I think I was fairly equipped. But certain things happen. Like you move in with your daughter's father. You don't expect to come home and all the doggone furniture and he done left you. You don't expect that, mind you. My child is one at the time. I was working at Walmart, and I had a cosmetology license. It's just trying to figure out life. So I like I said, I'm glad that I did have a soft place to land. at my mom's house, because my mom didn't raise any, or my father, any degenerates that was just out there doing the most. My brother, he has 6 children. And with the exception of a couple of years, I actually, well, a few years, raised his oldest 3. I always say I have 4, raised 4 children, but he took care of his children, and he still does it to this day. And my younger brother, my sister doesn't have any children, so what I'm saying is things happen. But I would never tell my daughter, unless she was out there on some real silliness, you can't come back home. I would never tell her that.
And then you also got to think, our parents' generation, the baby boomer generation, a lot of you guys will not agree with me on this. That is the most selfish generation ever produced in this country. If you don't believe me, why do you have an 80-plus-year-old president? Why do you have a 78-year-old insurrectionist running to go be president again? Almost more than half of your congressional people are baby boomers. Most of your Black so-called leaders are baby boomers. Where is the millennial leaders? Where are the Generation Y leaders? These people will not give it up. From their cold, dead hands, they are going to lead this country into the ground, which they are already doing. When they talk about Social Security, notice that they're not worried about their Social Security. They're worried about protecting their Social Security, but they don't mind cutting yours and anybody behind them. That's the problem. Selfish generation.
So yeah, I mean, I agree that the baby boomers they're pretty selfish, but they're teaching slowed down from generation to generation, which is why we have
the baby boomers didn't teach anything in general. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I disagree with that only on the strength of our parents are baby boomers. My father, my mom.
What I mean in general was like in general in the aspect of like property taxes and stuff like that.
And even that's not true. That because I'm
not saying that as a whole.
Donovan, I get what you're saying, but let me say from my point of view, I get what you're saying. Listen. I know the baby boomers, they got a lot of issues, including, they got that from my cold dead hand mentality, right? They gonna die on the seat or whatever. They won't pass down whatever it is to be passed down in a lot of cases. But my parents were baby boomers. I have a father who's still alive, and I have a stepfather who raised my sibling and I as well, and a mom, and they were baby boomers. And they taught us a lot of things. All 3 of my parents were entrepreneurs. My mom is a published author, had her own publishing company. My father was an entrepreneur, still is. He's elderly now. He doesn't work. And my stepfather, he was an entrepreneur. He had his own interior decorating business. And so we learned those skills from them. My siblings and I would not, and I'm telling you right now, be who we are if it was not for the teachings of my parents who were baby boomers, right? My grandparents were of the silent generation, but they also were entrepreneurs, and they believed in working hard. And all of my siblings we're doing all right. You know what I mean? And that was because of them. So I don't want to totally discount the baby boomers. They made a lot of mistakes, just like Gen Xers and everybody else is making a lot of mistakes. But we learned a lot of things from them. It's up to us though. If somebody gives you a house, I think it would be up to you. If you weren't taught how to keep that house, I think it's up to you to figure out how to keep that house. Because on one hand, you can't say I'm an adult, but I don't know how to keep this house when Google is free. Or before Google, you can go to the law library or ask a friend or somebody, right? So we can't put it all on the baby boomers, but I do get where you're going with that. I get it. Let's see. Your average logical thinker says, I agree. My mom was a boomer, and her parents enabled her to a fault, in my opinion. Yeah, and that's some people they did right. They raised spoiled brats or whatever the case is. But as I said, I didn't come from that. I didn't come from baby boomers who weren't nothing, or baby boomers who didn't teach. All of your children and all of your grandchildren are extremely smart, go-getters and all that. And that came from them. So that's why I can't, sign on to baby boomers not teaching us nothing. I personally can't do that. Let's see here. Rain says, my children had the potential to have a lot of excuses, no accountability like their father. When I seen that, I stayed on them. My girls are very responsible. Yeah, that comes from you as a parent teaching them better, right? Because a lot of parents nowadays like, oh Lord, I can't say nothing to them. They just don't want to. I'm that type of parent that's like, okay, I'm gonna give you some advice. You ain't listening. If I'm tied to your decision, then you gonna listen, right? Because you can't take anything from me if you can't take my advice. And I got that from my daddy, who was a boomer. You can't take my advice. You can't take my money or anything else I got to offer, right? But we got to be that. We have to be in our children's lives and not give up. Really find a way to communicate to them so that they'll be better. Because what happens to our legacy if we just keep raising degenerates? We just keep tapping out. And I know a lot too. I don't want to say it specifically in our race, but we're just hands off. Oh, they're 18. I don't need to teach them nothing else. Listen, I'm 52 years old. I'm going to keep telling y'all I'm 52 years old. My daddy is 79 years old, and I learn something from my dad every time I talk to him. He is always mentoring. He's always teaching. He's always correcting. Because my dad watches this sometimes, and he'll say, all right, I heard what you said, but this is what it is, and this, that, and the other. And, you know, he still guides me, and I'm still open to taking his advice. I'm not like, Daddy, don't tell me what to do. I've been doing this for a long time. I'm grown. Because one thing I know better, right?
see, but what you just said there is half of the problem in our community. If the baby boomers in general were teaching us in a majority of a way, because like I said, you are one of the minority. You're of the 30% that you come from. I come from the 30% of the people that are making it, right? Okay, that's good and great. Your story, my story, Corliss' story. Corliss worked hard, got it out the mud, doing it herself. Whatever the deal is. If the baby boomers in general were teaching, why is it that we are in a worse condition now than we were when they got leadership and got freedom and all that other stuff and got all those opportunities? There are less jobs, we have more people on assistance from the government in some form or fashion than there was way back when back in the day. So what I'm saying is, yes, we could kumbaya all day, but the reality is and I know you agree with me, in general, they did not teach anything in general.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly don't agree with that. And you says if they're teaching anything, why are we the way we are? Well, with the teaching aspect, there's also a learning component. Somebody could teach you, but are you open to learn? And that's the part of the other problem. See, like I said, what you're saying is foreign to me. It really is, because I had hands-on parents. I don't know what it's like as to be a child with idle time. From the time that I could remember, I was dancing, I was singing, I was running track, I was on a drill team, I was playing basketball, I was involved in clubs, and so were my siblings. So I had hands-on parenting, and I remember sitting at the kitchen table, having conversations with my parents. I remember going to the shop. I tell you all the time, I learned how to drive when I was like 11 to 12 years old, and I wasn't driving no little cute car. I learned how to drive vans and giant Cadillacs because my father was a mechanic, and if his helpers were not there at the time, hey, come with me, follow behind me. I need to drop this customer's car, which was completely illegal, right? I ain't no license, but I knew I better not wreck that car. I knew that, right? Now, I remember, too, being a child, sitting on my daddy's lap, driving, so I don't know if that was practice, but that's the kind of parenting I had. I had hands-on parenting, and this is wrong. Later on, my mom put my siblings and I in swimming classes, but I had the type of dad that was like, oh, y'all don't know how to swim? Cool, I'm with it. Tossed us in the pool, right? Like, literally. And we learned how to swim again. My mom gave us got us swimming lessons later on. But I don't know that upbringing to where my parents did not impart anything into my life. I can be here forever of all the things that I've learned. I am the writer I am today. I didn't learn how to write in high school or in college. I learned to write from my mom. My mom taught me how to write because she was a writer. I know a little bit about cars and all of that because my dad is a mechanic. I know how to decorate, and I got my fashion sense, whether y'all like it or not, from my stepfather. He was an interior decorator, and he would take my sister and I shopping for clothes. It wasn't my mom. It was my stepfather. So I learned a lot of things from them. So I can't say it in
So
general.
that hijab that you used to wear in high school, that was your stepfather's idea?
Nah, you know what? I was pretty fly in high school because I
Well,
had,
you were. I'll give it to you.
guess
She
what?
had that saucer cut like JJ
I
Fad. You
had
know what I
I
mean?
had it all. You know why? I had a job. My parents did not buy not one of my school clothes from high school on. I had a job in the summer and I had a job when I turned 16. Matter of fact, my stepfather took me to McDonald's. He talked to the manager, says, "This is my daughter. She needs a job when she ain't busy." And that's how I ended up paying for all my stuff, my school clothes, prom, everything. So I was taught those skills. You want some extra stuff and you go work for it.
Donovan, I gotta ask you, did you see on the news with LP down in Downey where they had to call in the police and I think they called two different departments down there
Yeah,
to
I
take
heard about
over
it.
LP?
Right.
Like, when do the police have to come to juvenile hall because these people up higher won't? It's sad to me though to say this because my sister works for these people. You know what I'm saying? And it scares me for her to have to go into these halls because the workers are like really getting injured. Damn near dying up in there. One of them has died. Okay. And they keep hiding them and they keep putting these kids out here and they get no consequences. But I keep telling, like, and then when I saw it on the news, I'm just sitting up here like, we in trouble.
Well, you guys got to think about this. You get what you voted for. Everybody wanted to defund the police. Everybody wanted to, do away with this. We could police ourselves, whatever. You've got district attorneys that have been elected that will not prosecute. Oh, it's a minor that, too much energy goes into this. So for all of you people that are Democrats out there, what are you complaining about with the high crime and everything? This is what you wanted. This is what you said was going to be the wave of the future. You get what you voted for.
And let me say this, Arniba, he says, we are in the worst condition now because baby boomers, for the most part, have rejected the way of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Honorable Minister Farrakhan, Honorable Marcus Garvey, etc., and accepted the way of the heathens. And you know what? That I will agree with, because had they taken that instruction, we would be a lot better off. Now, I will say maybe I have a great upbringing because my father and my mother were in the Nation of Islam. My father still is, been since he was 19, right? He's an FOI till he died. So I had that upbringing, up you mighty nation, accomplish what you will, do for self. Tell y'all all the time. My father has worked for one person, and that was I think it was Ferrari, Lamborghini, one of them. And the white man said he scratched up a car and fired him and wouldn't pay him. And from that point on, my dad was like, I bet I won't be working for nobody else. And he did not. He opened up his own mechanic shop and has worked for himself ever since. So that's the example I know. And I always tell y'all, my mom, she had a full ride scholarship to Clark Atlanta. But her mother, my grandmother, moved to California, and she wanted to be with her mom. So she came out to California, or went out to California, I should say, and became a nurse. She got her nursing degree, whatever, became a nurse. But when she met my father, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. My mom was not a dumb woman at all. It was a very honorable thing to be a stay-at-home mom and take care of my father and, the children and things like that. So, like I said, I don't know to be brought up by parents who just didn't care or didn't try to teach us anything. And in fact, in my household, you didn't have a choice. You was going to learn something. And I believe wholeheartedly, I became an orator, if you will, into communication solely due to both of my fathers. And my father, he will give you a lecture. He can call me right now and I won't have to say but 3 words the whole hour. And my stepfather was the same way. So I attribute those skills to them. So that's why I can't really, agree with that wholeheartedly. And your average logical thinker says, and thank you so much for the donation, by the way, says Demetri, you better go off about how awesome your parents and step parents were. Yeah, that's why I said I I know baby boomers are problematic, but not the baby boomers that raised me. Now, I'm not saying they was perfect. They wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but they did teach us something. I will say that, and I will say all of us got that hustler spirit. You know, it's a do or die mentality from all of my parents. It's we don't. I mean, you have disappointments, but I didn't learn the quitting spirit. I didn't learn that from my parents. It was like you do it until you're successful. I don't care how many times you fail, right? So I'm grateful to them for that, honestly. And Lady Blue says, a silent generation raised me with a Generation X who birthed me. Absolutely. And I had great grandparents too. I watched, both of my grandmothers were domestics. My father's mom, she was Jamie Lee Curtis's nanny, right? And my other grandmother, she was a domestic for a very wealthy family that way. Michael, let me bring you back on at another time, but we're going to get out of here shortly. My mom's grandmother, she worked for a very wealthy white family. And when both the parents died, they left my grandmother $3,000 every 3 months until she passed away. So, and they saved all their little pennies and bought homes and, all that kind of stuff. So, I don't come from the nothingness of the baby boomer generation. I don't know them. Let's see here. And Common Man says, I can't go live. I think it's a stream. It's a cell phone program because I can't get on my personal computer. However, yeah, it's a connection thing because I see that you are trying to come on, but it says not connected. So it doesn't even give me the ability to bring you up. So yeah, sorry about that. And Marjorie says, it's the water, Donovan, lead poisoning, brain damage. Well, dang. And Virgin Love 8, he says, Donovan, I don't think that's what she asked you, hon. And Lady Blue says, I understand Donovan's point, though. The key word is tools. I get what he's saying. Yeah, I mean, that's the same adage of you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
See, I disagree with that. I'm going to tell you why. When a child is in my house, they're going to do what I tell them to do. There is no choices when it comes to that.
So I'm not talking about the child in the house. I'm talking about giving your children tools that when they leave, if they choose not to use those tools, there's nothing you could do.
Right. Okay. I get what you're saying. You're talking about using the tools. Right. And then if they don't want to use those tools, stay out of my house because I've given you everything you needed.
Yeah. But like I said, I'm one of those people. I do believe in redemption. I think everybody should have an opportunity to try to redeem themselves. I just don't. I'm not one of those people. You can't never come. I think you should always be able to come back home, especially if you're in right standing, because life happens. You know what I mean?
A lot of times today, though, these kids ain't. The parents don't have no tools. The kids definitely don't have tools. That's why we're dealing with a lot of these kids that are outrageous, run up on folks and don't think somebody gonna knock them down because they think they can go up to somebody on the street and do the same thing they do at home. Then when they lose their life, then they mama outside with a sign. Well, you should have had a sign on their behind.
Well, yeah, I agree with you. You got children having children. That's a big problem in the community. So how can a child who, had a baby going to learn anything when they're trying to get their GED and just getting started? It's unfortunate that we see these young people time after time again, male and female, having babies at 19 years old, which condemns yourself to a life of poverty. If God forbid you have good parents that are going to support you, you might make it out of that. But a majority of us don't make it out of that.
Right.
And Black America says, Miss D, your upbringing is not a regular upbringing. And you know what's funny, Black America, when I was growing up, I thought it was regular. Because I would say that I had, some friends who had a similar situation, 2 parents in the home. And because I didn't hang around people who weren't doing anything. I just, I wasn't taught to do that. There was that crowd, but I didn't hang around that crowd. And Donovan would tell you, I was always on the go. I was always doing something. Everybody saw me in passing, right? I was the president of the BSU. I was in choir.
Stop it,
Jazz.
stop it, stop it. Demetra had this boyfriend that went to Ramona,
I
and
did.
you would see Demetra at lunchtime, like in Prison Break, making a run for the fence. Last thing you saw was Demetra's big old chicken leg going over the fence, running to the bus stop to go see her boyfriend.
I did have a boyfriend who, in my high school sweetheart, he went to another high school, and I would, go see him, go hang out at the. That's the stupidest thing if you think about it. You ditch your school to go hang out at your boyfriend's school. But I will say this: I had the opportunity, as all my brothers and sisters, to graduate early because my parents also made us go to summer school every chance there was available. So, but yeah, so I was a busy person. I didn't hang out with people who weren't doing anything. I think I hung out with people who had a pretty good upbringing and things like that. I led her 3 times in high school: choir, track, and jazz. So I was busy. But so it might not have been a regular upbringing, but I just didn't know that it wasn't. I have instilled those same things into my daughter. I like to think that I did. I often hear about, how she's not a kid, but how good of a kid she is. My daughter's very smart, resourceful. She could cook. She's got a degree. She's just an all around good person. And before I leave this planet, I'd like for her to be with a son-in-law. I really would. But my daughter, she ain't gonna be putting up with just anybody. I'm gonna just put that on out there.
See, and another thing is a lot of people, you guys agree, we got to keep our kids busy. But guess what? Guess who has decided to cut funding to boys clubs, girls clubs, 4-H clubs, all these things like that? It all comes down to the money. The baby boomer generation, because they're still in power. But notice that when we were kids, you had those type of things. You had the Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts. There was all kinds of things that were there because it was good for the common good of the communities across the nation. But because of mismanagement by our baby boomers, we're going to cut this and we're going to cut that. And then we wonder why our single mothers have no support. Thank God I can say my mother being a widowed mother, me and my brother lived in the boys club. We lived there. If it wasn't for that, I don't know where my mom would be in regards to raising my brother and myself. That was our second home. And in the boys club, we learned woodworking. We learned educational skills. We learned to play basketball. We learned camping. There were so many things. But if you go to most cities today, you can't find a boys or a girls club anywhere, even though that's a nonprofit. But the point is, back in the day, that used to be funded by government grants.
But I think this is what we need to do as for our own people to get us together anyway. We need to start investing into our own communities because we clearly see the government is not going to do it for us.
Come on, Corliss.
So I can't tell you about the government because I'm sick and tired of them. Sick and tired. They don't get a vote. They don't get nothing from me because I already know what they're going to do. They come in your churches when it's time for them to get in and they cast for what they do, the 1-2 step right on out the door as soon as you drop your vote. So I already know that's not going to work. But when is it that we go back into our own communities with some upstanding folks, not these ones sneaking and creeping and sliding our babies off to the side doing freaky stuff to them? You know what I'm saying? But some real stand-up people go back in the community and do what it is that they need to do without the government funding. Hell, if we could get just a quarter of the money that they give for these men out here playing sports, I just heard them say somebody got a deal for playing soccer, $1 billion. What the hell is you doing on the field for $1 billion to run up and down the field and you can't fund these teachers? Like that, it doesn't make sense to me. We need to take care of our own at this point. It ain't no more government because the government ain't doing nothing for us.
You hit the nail on the head, my sister. Black America says you didn't teach her how to be a wife. She will be alone. My daughter does know how to be a wife. She just needs a good man to come along and make her that. But what I did teach my daughter and her father, y'all think I'm bad. Her father is worse. He's like, don't you settle for any and every old thing. You know what I mean? Because I think men know how men get down. But she'll be a wife. She just ain't going to be no wife to no, jack leg dude who trying to do her any and every kind of way. You know, my daughter's not picky, but she ain't stupid either. I never want my daughter to think that just because you're getting older, you need to go on and roll the dice. And hopefully, you know, he's the one. Nah, that is not the ideology I taught my daughter. My daughter knows that a man that's worked his way, and I ain't talking about he got to have six figures and all that other stuff or whatever, worked his way, and he gonna act like he got some sense. That's who she becomes a wife to. But I will say this: my daughter has been out on dates, and I feel sorry for the younger girls. I really do. Because my God, some of those dudes out there just with the stuff, playing games. And I would tell you this, every last one of them has called my daughter back and said, I'm sorry. You know, I ghosted you. The last guy called not too long ago and says, I missed my opportunity with you, didn't I? And she was like, yeah, you kind of just took off. You know, who does that? So, you know, her guy is out there. We not stressed. We not pressed. We not. So, Shamita, how are you doing? Says speak. Don't.
I want to say this, okay? If Shamita ever posts anything here, now me and her go back to high school, back in Japan and stuff like that, and we spent majority of our military careers together. Take it with a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt. When she was in the military, she was like a hard-nosed type, you know, ain't taking no crap type woman. So she's an anomaly. Let's leave her out of this.
Yeah, but she got a man too. You know what I'm saying? She didn't just settle. She was strategic, which, you know, it works out when you're strategic. But see, we don't buy into the ideology of this BS wall y'all done made up, and a woman loses her value and all of that other stuff. We don't buy into that, because a woman that's good gonna be good till she die. That's y'all out there that's, you know, looking for the young, super hot 25-year-old, and then she becomes a hospice wife. You become a hospice husband. She taking care of y'all. Your thing don't work no more. You ain't got no more hair. You can't see your feet and all of that. And that's who y'all looking for. You know what I'm saying? And then you get
Men
mad.
value youth. What's wrong
Yeah,
with
you value
valuing our youth?
You value youth, but after you ain't getting no younger. So you asking that woman to put up with you, baby. Can you get my medicine? Can you put some Bengay on my feet? That ain't sexy.
But this is exactly why we are made differently. Men and women are made differently. That way, that's why men can procreate up until the time we're dead. What was that actor, Anthony? He's an old actor. He had a child when he was like 87 years old and then died like 2 years later. Tony Randall, he was in his 80s, had children. We're built this way so that the human race and species will continue.
Yeah, but the young broads feeding you Burger King and Taco Bell.
Well, we're not going to be around that much longer anyway. You know, it's kind of like the Black Widow. It's kind of like the Black Widow. You mate, then you die. You eat your mate. You know, it's no big deal.
No. So it's funny because what did Black America say? You didn't teach her how to be a wife. Well, it's funny because I was dating a guy and I met his grandmother, mother, everybody, right? And she said, honey, my grandson ain't meant to be no husband. She say, you meant to be a wife. She say, it's in your DNA. She say, when I met you, I just knew. She said, and I knew it wasn't gonna work. Some of us just have it in us. If you've been around it, it's just embedded in you to do. Like what are you over here doing? Build what's that, the mail order bride, wife or whatever? How that work out?
And the other thing too is, and Mackie, I'm gonna answer your question. You know, Donovan, you talking about we looking for youth. I would tell y'all right like this, okay? And no disrespect. If you take it that way, I'm sorry.
We're not looking for youth. We value youth.
Yeah, okay, same difference, right? You value youth. What you just value it, and you're looking at it from a far distance. Like, what are we doing? It's the same difference.
Well, you value youth for the simple fact that a woman your age can't give us children. So if we want more children, you have to go to a younger woman.
The devil is a lie. And
Come on.
you gonna stop that, brother.
No. I'm not saying that ain't the way it
Let her
works. What I'm
finish.
saying is that's why we look at younger women if we wanted more children.
No, honey, we older women can still produce children. We went through menopause. Like, if you take care of yourself, we can have babies pretty much just as long as you can create them if we take care of ourselves. That's the thing.
True. But again, I agree with you wholeheartedly. But unfortunately, the majority of people that isn't happening. You know, Janet Jackson can have a child at 50-something years old, but she also has the money to do it.
Let me say this, okay? I'm 52. I don't think I can produce any children. I don't, have that stuff or whatever. Thank the Lord. So I ain't trying to have no children at 52 years old, okay? But let's just keep it a buck, Chuck. Most of y'all dudes ain't got enough money to keep no young girl interested. I ain't talking about your Social Security check or your pension from the warehouse. I'm talking about, like, somebody with something, like, oh, baby, okay, yes, you want to go shopping? Sure, come on, let's go. I'm going to go hang out with the other dudes as you take my credit card and you go buy. That's the kind of money I'm talking about. But y'all talking about getting a younger wife so she can sit next to you, smelling funky all day because you ain't took no bath, talking about you ain't got to work. I'm taking care of you. Yeah, we never leave the house. Like, we don't, what are we doing here? So let's keep it real. Y'all ain't got that kind of money to buy that kind of youth. Now, I mean, let's not lie to kick it, but I want to answer this. Mackie says, Demetri, do you believe that children should be proactive in helping their children cultivate friendships with other children within their social and economic class, like Jack and Jill parents do? I'm a little familiar with the Jack and Jill organization, a Black organization where I guess the children and parents come from like-minded societies. I guess they're wealthy. Yeah, I think you should raise your children to hang around people that are conducive, right? Now, I'm not saying they got to be rich, but they at least got to be positive. They're doing something. You don't want your children hanging around degenerates because they say evil communication corrupt good manners. So yeah, you want your children to be around somebody who is going to be on the same path that they're on, because if not, it's a waste of time that you raise your children with good values and then they just go hang out with people who don't have them. They're more than likely not going to change the mind of the children that may be wayward. So it's better to tell them, hey, I like that girl, she's nice, or that boy, they're not, yeah, hey, but that one, we gonna pray for them. But no, you can't hang out. You know what I mean? No shame in the game. Kiki says, exactly, Corliss. That's like the Black teacher who's a pastor. He quit the Florida school system due to all the changes involving African-American history, etc. He's getting with other pastors and they're trying to get some kind of academy going for Black community so they can teach what they want. Exactly. We know damn well waiting on the government to do anything for Black people. You're going to be waiting till you die. JBWR, how you doing? It says the wall has been corrupted. They said wall in quotations. I mean, that wall is something that y'all made up to devalue women that you feel to be valueless. And like I said, I thank God that, there's a lot of smart women out there like, man, I'll jump over that damn wall. And what? Mike, now you're talking about value youth. It's like, come on, y'all need to quit playing. Black America says, now I want to come up. You sound crazy as heck. I'm going to put the link just for you. We're going to be here a couple of more minutes. The Black America, tap in.
Right. And real quick, Kiki says that like women in their 50s could still have babies, whatever. I will agree with that. I'll give you a good example. My grandmother on my dad's side, she had 24, 25 live births. She had a child every 2 years back in the day. She stopped having her last child when she was 46. But notice her body was geared to do that. It never really stopped. So I'm not saying in general, a woman nowadays who waits till they're in their 50s, you risk your life trying to have a child at that age. Fact.
We risk our life having a child at any age.
Oh, at any age, but it's more so past the geriatric pregnancy age. More so.
If y'all don't stop with that geriatric
that's a fact. That's a medical fact. That's a medical fact. I don't know why you guys reject what is medically.
I don't do that. They know what they talking about medically. We ain't
Go look it up. Google it. Google it. Just Google it.
I used to do nothing.
Wait. Carlos, how many children you have?
7.
Can Donovan give you advice about having children?
No.
I didn't
Go,
ask her for
look,
advice.
look,
But
look, Donovan. Look, Donovan. Go back to what Tupac said. What did he say? You can't tell us what to do with our bodies.
I ain't trying to tell you what to do with your
So,
body.
but you just set up and said that we can't have babies at 50
No,
something.
I didn't say that. I said some can, but the majority of you guys can't. The majority of you can't. We're not an absolute show. We're not an absolute show. I wish people would stop doing that. We're not talking about the everybody. There is exceptions.
Black America, what? No, how you doing?
Good afternoon. Hello, Miss D, Donovan, and Miss Loudmouth. How's everybody doing today?
Oh,
Oh, I come in with the smoke today. So
you
check
know,
this out.
what we
Check
don't do
this
is
out.
tell anybody naked.
Careless.
Coreless.
Okay, thank you for correcting me. See, I can say thank you. I appreciate that. Ladies, Janet Jackson, the brat, any of these old broads that's having kids, we know they using medicine to do that, don't we? We don't just think somebody's sticking it in and they having kids. Can we agree on that?
No.
Okay, so
but hold on. First of all, the brat went her option because she doesn't deal with men. So that's a huge difference.
Okay. Right. So she was on all kind of hormones and everything like that because she's 48 years old to have that kid. The same thing with Janet Jackson. These are people that have money. You're not going to find the majority of women over about 45 actually popping them out. My little sister got 10 kids. Okay. And I think she like 40 something, but she started having them when she was like 19. So her body is accustomed to dropping them out of there. You know what I mean? So it's a difference between a woman who starts having children at a later age versus a woman that's been having them all of her life. That's why have you ever heard the term MFer? I know you guys heard the term MFer.
Yes.
Do you got so you know what the origin of that word is?
Yes.
Do we know the origin of that word?
Yes.
So Black women started having kids back then when they was 13, 14, and 15, and they were bred. Okay, they were bred until they couldn't drop them out anymore, all the way until they were in their 40s. So we don't want to act like you can just be 31, 32 and then just start having kids. Your body has to get used to that. Your body that's not something you just can't go out and run a half a marathon. I'm sorry. You're going to have to run a couple of 5Ks first before you can do that. The human body does not work like that. Now, on Miss D, it's not that my whole thing with your daughter, she's a lovely young lady, but she's a lot like you. She has an opinion. She has a mouth. And men like me and Donovan, well-to-do men, upstanding, righteous men, we don't want to hear that. We want hold on 1 second. We want to give our life for and to your daughter. We want to lay down our very soul for her. But if she's talking shit, I don't even want to be bothered with her. If I have to hear her opinion, I don't even want to be bothered with it. It's too much of a headache for somebody who I am willing to actually die for. Okay, now you can go ahead and jump on my back.
Ooh, wait. Lord, do not control my mouth. Okay. First of all, you would not run across any man that I've ever dated and says that I mean, I'm not perfect, but he ain't gonna tell you that I had a habit of usurping him, talking to him crazy, and this back talking that you talking about. I'm a grown woman.
Wait a minute.
Wait.
He told me that.
Wait, nah. Back talking, I'm a grown woman. Okay. Now, as my man and preferably my husband, I'm gonna respect you. Okay, I respect the hierarchy, but as far as me talking back, I'm a grown woman and I will not be put in my place per se. And I'm gonna tell you this:
Problem one.
but first of all, you ain't my man, I ain't your woman, so I don't have to be concerned about what you think about me, Donovan, either. But the man that I do respect his opinion is my father, and my father would tell me if
Problem two.
again, you ain't my man. If I was talking too much, my father watches this, he would tell me. But my father raised me to have an opinion. And I'm gonna tell you like one thing like this: any man worth his weight is not gonna be intimidated by a woman with an opinion. Now, a woman that's nagging, that's a whole different story. But a woman that's got an opinion, that knows something, that could put something on the conversation, that's a whole different ball game. And I would impress upon both of you brothers, y'all ain't never ready for no woman like that. What y'all should go do is get your passports, go hop on a plane to the farthest thing away from good women over here. Find you a little something that's subservient and that's gonna wiggle and jiggle and do everything you say, because a woman worth her weight gonna have something to say, and she ain't for no little boys.
Shame, guilt, whatever else you guys do to make it sound like you guys are doing all this great stuff. It's the
horrible.
Same stuff. It's always about guilting
horrible.
us, shaming us, and all this other stuff. I agree with your valid points, but you take that attitude and go to Africa or these traditional countries, you won't last long.
Listen, let me tell you something. The man for me, like I said, I'm not dating every man out there. I'm gonna be dating and married to one man. So your opinion of me does not matter, and I'm gonna press upon any woman, and I'm gonna tell the men too. Stop listening to these jackleg people on the internet that didn't learn something yesterday from a person who didn't learn nothing the day before that, and they trying to espouse those beliefs on you as if that's the gospel. Donovan in Black America want gonna get them something that's just gonna shake her head, or that, hey, that's your opinion, my brother. But you could never tell set rules and laws for other women who you would never ever even have the chance of dating.
Get you. Shamita says
What?
this, and she's a medical background. Real quick, Black America. She says, and Shamita is a very forward-thinking woman, progressive type woman, let me say, in the mind of Demetra K. I don't think either men or women should be having children after a certain age, and she has a medical background. Let's just put that out there. Medically speaking, it does become more dangerous and difficult the older woman becomes. As for men, your sperm count does go down. That's true. The older you get, the reason the blue pill exists. See, so both things could be true at the same time.
And she's absolutely right. But she prefaced it with should. She didn't say couldn't or could. She said should. But let me address it right. She says, oh boy, but Demetra be the first one talking about we need to break the stigma of sisters not being able to be told nothing. Y'all can't tell me nothing. However, my man can tell me something. And that's where y'all brothers need to get that straight. Y'all think that somehow some God somewhere in the sky has given you the authority to reign over all women. That is out of order, my brother. You need to be in a position in that woman's life to tell her what to do. But I'm single. So I will listen to you if you are telling me something that I need to listen to. But as far as because you a man, you got little extra things between your legs and I do, and I need to listen to you. Now you are ill-advised, my brother. And I'm gonna tell any woman out there, for man, I don't care who he is, come to you like that and he ain't your man, then you should not listen to him. And I have not changed my message. I have always said that. I don't know who gave y'all dudes the audacity to think that you need to just be able to reign over any woman because you a man. That's not how that works. And I think any man worth his weight would back me up on that.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
As a man, if something was happening to you, is it my job, duty, privilege, and honor to give my life for you, even though I don't know you? If somebody was beating your ass on the street, should I jump in and risk my very life, blood, and my heart for you?
See, we using words should and should you? That's subjective. If that's what you want to do, Would it be honorable? And I think you conflating and you're comparing apples and oranges. You're talking about somebody's safety on the line, whether you should jump in or not. That's a personal decision for you, brother. But because you're a man and you think you should be able to espouse all your little opinions on any woman, even though she ain't your woman, that is wrong and that's out of order. And that's the one thing I would say I hate about the internet, whether it's the manosphere or the divestors, the women who, are down with the man and all that. Y'all have been ill-advised and y'all need to go get some more knowledge before you try to teach other people that nonsense. You would if I don't belong to you, my brother, in any way, shape, or form, I listen to my brothers, I listen to my father and my man, but some man I don't know and he ain't got no connection to me. I don't think so, because you ain't better than me.
Okay, so look at it from this point. Okay, I just want you to try and look at it from this point. Your safety is always on the line. Okay, if you don't have, you have your dad that you're listening to, you have your brothers that you're listening to, they're not there with you. So that's a huge lag. That's a huge space of time and difference to actually be there. Someone actually being there with you is your covering. Like I said, you're saying it'll be honorable for a man to give his life to you. Why should some complete stranger want to do something nice for you? Miss Corliss said we as a community need to start taking care of each other and things like that. I'm gonna go back to what I always say. There is not going to be any community until the women get on the men's page, because we don't care. We will die alone. We don't care about you guys like that.
Okay,
we want to be with you guys, but we don't like you.
Let me say this again. You comparing apples and oranges. You talking about somebody's safety opposed to you being able to tell some woman you don't know or have a connection to what to do. And if she don't, she's combative. I'm going to tell you right now, I love each and every one of y'all, but I don't care what you think about me if you ain't my man, and you will never, ever be able to, like I said, I'm able to take advice. I listen to people all the time, but if you think just because on the strength of you being a man, your DNA is a little bit differently than mine, that you should be able to tell me what to do, and if I don't, I'm being unruly, brother, you need to go back and learn something. That's all I'm going to say.
Hold on, let me say this. When I said the community needs to step in, I'm saying as a whole, a group, a collective, like not just it's a partial thing. We see out here, you said you in Vegas, but what I'm saying is just out here, the community, these kids, I feel for them. I do. I hurt for these kids because it's only two places they finna end up, and they ain't even gotta be in no trouble. You could just be driving down the street and you just got some lunatics like the naked lady, Donovan. Did you see her walking down the freeway, butt naked, walking down the freeway, shooting at cars? Like we in trouble. We are seriously in trouble. And it's not the government. I was speaking on government issues. It's us as a whole. We have to start looking out for our own, especially our children, because they are not going to make it. They either going to be dead or they just going to be dead, because that's the only option that they pretty much have right now. These kids don't have no hope. They don't even have a chance at life.
Okay.
So we on two different things.
Well, let me ask you this, and everybody could have their opinion. I can take it. I'm from Krypton. In a community, there has to be a leader. A divided house cannot stand. You can't have this person saying this person. There has to be one decision by somebody in control. Somebody has to be in control. Who is it going to be? That's my question. Who's going to be in control?
So again, you are doing a red herring, my brother. Y'all, let me say this to y'all, okay? Because what I won't let y'all do is sit up here and lie on me. I've said a copious amount of times through various recordings that when you are married, there is a hierarchy. I'm a traditional woman in every sense of the word. A husband is the head of the household, period, point blank, right? Now, y'all are talking about me, for example. I'm not married to neither one of y'all. Y'all can't tell me what to do. I will listen to you if you're giving me something to listen to. But as far as
We're
I
not
was,
talking about you.
wait, hold on. I've read some of the comments and I've heard what you said. I'm getting older, but I ain't dumb. I remember very well. You guys you're talking about a household who's gonna listen. Depending on what that man and that woman has set for their household, great, I'm with it. In my household, the man wears the pants. That's just the way it is. However, on the street with any old dude, he don't wear no pants with me. If he ain't paying my bills or I'm not laying down with him, he can't tell me what to do. And that's where you guys are coming from. Y'all like to falsely label women who got an opinion. And yes, you do. Don't sit up here and get that look like, no, we don't. Y'all like
No, I don't agree with you. I don't agree. My question was for Corliss.
Let me finish, because you called me a feminist a couple of times.
Yeah, because you're a feminist. I believe you're a feminist. I believe you're a feminist.
Too, but as I always try to educate you, my brother, you don't know what a feminist is. You got it all wrong. You think it's a woman who simply won't listen to you. It's more to it than being a feminist. I don't want to give you another class at this moment, but y'all have got it all wrong. A woman who won't listen to y'all want to label her as a feminist, combative, masculine, and this, that, and the other. That, like I said, y'all get a woman and y'all tell her what to do. Then you can have that conversation. But any old woman on the internet, that's not how that works. And I'm gonna keep repeating that because y'all are ill-advised.
Right. Now, when I just said who's going to be the leader, that was addressing Corliss's thing to the community coming together and doing stuff.
I don't, it can't, well, I say this for me, I always say it takes a village. So it's not just one person that could come in and step in and do everything. It takes a village. Like, it's just not one person. It takes a community. It takes a collective.
But wouldn't you agree, for whatever goal is in mind, there has to be somebody that comes to that decision. In every group, there has to be one person that has to be the leader. Well, let's go back to the 60s and civil rights movement. In the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, there was one leader, Martin Luther King, right? You go to the Urban League or whatever it was Ralph, whatever his name is, Philip Randolph Scott, that ran the Pullman's thing and all that other stuff. There's always going to be one leader. Is there a consensus within that group? Yes, but there's one leader. So if we're going to do stuff community-wise, we have to come up with one leader. Unfortunately, in the Western world that we live in and the manosphere, very rarely are men going to follow women in regards to helping the community in a direction. Would you agree with that or disagree?
Black Lives Matter, anyone?
Corliss, let me cut it off because it's gonna go in circles. My dear brother here, JBWR, and I said this a couple of weeks ago because I'm a woman, though. I guess I know what I say don't hold no weight. And I asked Donovan, I asked you this a couple of weeks ago when you raised this same question, and y'all talk about we don't listen. Y'all don't listen. I said, why are you asking us for leadership? This brother here says, I will assume control. I don't need to ask you, woman, for permission to lead the community. I'm going to take the lead. I'm not going to, because if you can't call yourself a leader, if you asking permission, a leader assumes the role. All right, little darling, sit down. I got it. I'm going to lead the community, okay? That's the answer, but trying to do all this technology.
No, it's not technology.
No,
it's not technology. Now, Demetra, you're entitled to your opinion on how you go about things. Nothing wrong with that. However, I'm asking Corliss the question, and if she's saying it's a community thing, okay, that's good and great. I don't know who's going to stand up, whatever the situation is, and that's all good and great. The point is, there has to be a leader. My point is, there has to be a leader. That's my point.
I don't know, Donovan. Let me say this really quick, because when things go awry, just anywhere I am, I step up to the plate myself and take control of the situation and step in to fix whatever it is I can fix. And then other people come on board. But I'm not a leader. That's why I said it takes a village. When I was growing up, if one of us did something wrong, just like with y'all, if somebody in the neighborhood saw something wrong, before our parents even got to us, everybody else then already put their 2 cents in, made the phone calls. It's a collective effort. I don't ever think that it should just be one person leading anybody. It takes a village.
And I would say, I think that the men should do the leading. The Black community has, and I know Black America says not a Black community before, lack of better words, Black community. It is more matriarchal, and it should not be that way. It should be the other way around, where the man is taking the lead. But to Corliss's point, at this point in time, who's there, that's who's going to do it. Like, you take initiative, right? Now, I'm going to tell you, as a woman, I don't know, not too many women want to be in the lead. It's hard being a woman, let alone trying to lead everything and do this, that, and the other. That's a hard job to do. Women were not put on this earth to have to work so damn hard. We're not built for that. But I would say, me personally, yeah, I'm annoyed today. And I rarely get annoyed, but I'm annoyed in that we keep having this same conversation. And maybe it's because I do, know how to debate a little bit. I just hate when people label people when your argument is faulty. Like, we got to get out of the habit of labeling people, or using these talking points that have absolutely no merit. None of y'all besides Donovan and Corliss know me outside of this internet. So y'all don't know what kind of woman I really am, but I can tell you right now, I could get a whole bunch of people, send them the link, and they'll come on here and tell you Demetra's a good woman. So I'm not going to try to prove that to you, but what y'all not going to do is keep on lying on me for just point blank period. If you cannot debate me, don't lie on me. And I'm not going to give y'all a pass for lying on me, and that's just the way it is. Now, I don't have a problem with having uncomfortable conversations, but lying on me, I ain't going to do it.
So let me say this to Black America too, because we play around a lot or whatever. Loudmouth is what I am. I've always been loud. I've always been a very forward person. Okay. But one thing I can tell you, any man that I've ever been with, even the one I'm with now, I know how to be a woman. Okay. And real women know how to bow out gracefully. But the thing is, you have to be a man in order for a woman to do any type of bowing. Because we're not going for it, period. And I can be as loud as I want to be. I can be as soft as I need to be. And I'm damn sure as warm as I got to be. Don't ever get it mistaken, okay? Okay.
Yeah, so, hey, honeydew, how you doing? King Chris, how you doing? He says each man should lead his own household, plain and simple. Yeah, his own household. Not every woman you come across. Woman, you need to listen to me. I will do no such thing. Well, you're masculine because you won't listen to me. That's what I hear. And it's like, excuse me? Excuse me? But again,
see right there, that you said. See, that's what you hear, and then you get triggered, and then you don't hear anything afterwards.
Again, you lying on me, brother.
I'm not lying. I'm telling you. I'm giving you my observation.
No, I like I said, I hear very well. I heard what Black America said, and you co-signed to a lot of that. I heard exactly what was said. So
that's my observation of what was just said. Also, just because I'm not saying every man on the streets. What I'm saying is, when you give them, you are valued counsel. Right? Once again, I always come with the love. We love you. We need you. You are valued counsel. But if I say we're going left, I don't want to hear from the peanut gallery. Oh, well, maybe we need to go straight. Maybe we need to go right. Maybe we need to do this or do that. It's pushback. It's constant. It's not open for, some things aren't open for discussion. We can have a discussion, but when somebody is laying down the law, and just like Corliss just said, she said, hey, I know when to bow out gracefully. I know when, to take my knee, take one for the team. When you have that, that is called being compliant. It's called, being in a position. We're talking about community and leading. Nobody wants to play their actual position. is the whole thing about it. And without everybody playing their position, you won't have an effective team.
I mean, I get it. Listen again. Y'all can check my track record. I always talk about playing your position and allowing a man to be at the head of the household. I always talk about that. So there's no debate with me on that. I grew up in that manner. I grew up in a traditional household. My dad was the head of the household. My stepfather was the head of the household. I did not see my mama usurp their authority at all. I never saw her do it. I never saw my mama, as you would say, back talking to husband and getting all flossy. I never seen my mama do it. I never seen any of my grandmothers do it. So I don't come from that. But I think that we really should be careful in how we some of the conversations that we have. I know this whole gender war, which I hate a lot, gets kind of heated, but I think it's important for all of us to know you play a position with somebody who is worthy of that, and that is your man or your wife. Just like y'all probably not gonna take advice from too many women that ain't yours. You're just not, and I'm not saying that you should. But I think a woman worth her weight knows how to play her position. She's got a good man at home and he's doing everything. Yes, honey, it is my pleasure. And you can ask any man I've been with. It has always been my pleasure to serve, to cook, whatever it is I needed to do. I was never in the street, or cheating and none of that stuff. You won't find a man that I've dated that says anything like that about me. But what they will tell you is that's a smart woman right there. She knows her stuff. She's very resourceful. So being that I am smart and I'm resourceful, I'm probably going to have a little bit more than the average to say. Hey, honey, I see what you're doing, but have you thought about this? This might be a better way to do it. What you think about that? It ain't, nah, you doing it all wrong, sucker. Do what I say, do. Nah, because that is masculine. It's you want to get, and listen, I was in sales too, so I know it's you want to get the other person's buy-in. And I always say a woman worth her weight, she know how to get what she need from her man without, taking it. You don't do what I say, or I'm not going to give you nothing tonight if you don't do it. She know, okay, honey, if you think that's best, but then she'll find another way to come around. Okay, well, ask a different way, or maybe put a little extra gravy on his potatoes, or, swing on the chandeliers that night. She know how to get him to acquiesce. That's all I'm saying. And Black America, whether you know it or not, I do love you. I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you do. The donations, and even though we don't agree, probably 98% of the time you running neck and neck with Donovan, I do appreciate you coming on here and giving your opinion and however we may feel about it. I appreciate that, because a lot of people feel a certain way and they don't have the balls to click on the link and say, hey, Miss D, you wrong. So I want to
I got one question for you. I got a quick question for you.
Tread lightly. I'm just playing.
No. With all of that you just said, do you feel I just seen that Sexy Red video you put up, right? You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
Do you feel like a woman of your caliber is the majority of the women?
I do. You know why I feel like that? Is because I always say this. The internet is not real. Of course, we gonna blow stuff up over the internet. Oh gosh, look at this person. And I'm guilty of that too, because we should be showing people who are doing the right thing. But you know what the problem is with that? Is if we do that, people don't want to see that. If I say, here's a good Black woman, she's doing this, 2 people will watch it. But if I show you somebody like Sexy Red, and I feel like there's always a point to me showing things. I don't like to be exploitive. My point to showing that video was a cry to the sisters. We need to start speaking up. We need to start letting people know we wholeheartedly denounce that behavior. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, Sexy Red is the rapper. She went to a Mercedes dealership and she twerked on top of a pink Mercedes Benz in front of everybody. And she had a whole bunch of money in her hands. It was disgusting. It was nasty. So that was really why I did it. It was a call to the sisters, the good sisters with good sense is what I said, to start speaking out about that and denounce it. That's what that is. So no, I don't think that Sexy Red is the majority of Black women. I actually think it's the opposite.
You know, it's funny too because my daughters, I sent them the clip, the video. My daughter is 27, and my other daughter is 31, and they were just like, what? Like, what's wrong? And most of these kids today, they think that their behavior is okay. I mean, even we're watching, I don't know if y'all watched it. I just saw, I ain't even watched it to tell you the honest to God truth. The BET Awards, that was horrific. That was distasteful. Just all of their behavior. Her, the one you talking about that was on top of the car, she was there. The other girl, her friend, and it's just like, where do you find this behavior okay? But because everything is so accepted today, they just feel like they can go out and do it, and it's just inappropriate behavior all over the place.
Right. And that's why I said, we really just need to start saying, hey, we denounce it. And I said, I get it. If you say that, and people are going to jump all over you. But most importantly, we should start teaching our daughters from the house how to be appropriate in every setting. Right. My daughter, so, she sometimes jokingly calls herself a hot girl. I said, that's cute, fine, and dandy. But when we go certain places, we gonna tone the hot girl down, or whatever the case is. And she's 30. She could tell me, Mom, you don't tell me what to do. She might sometimes, but then she'll think about it. She'll be like, yeah, you know what? Let me go on and put something else on, because let's be appropriate in every setting that we go to, right? So, Brother Derek Muhammad, how you doing? And thank you so much for the donation. And Chris, I love and appreciate you for that donation as well. Thank you so much. It says the etymology of a woman, husband, and the economy. A woman means wife, husband means head of household, and economy means household management. When we say no marriage, we curse ourselves. I don't, let me read that again, because I was gonna say I don't disagree, but I want to make sure I'm agreeing to the right thing. I'm saying, no. So you say head of household, yes. How absolutely. I want to, can I kind of tweak it just a little bit, and we're gonna get out of here. I know we've been on here a long time. I'm gonna tweak it a little bit. So yes, head of the household, it traditionally is the man, and I'm gonna stand 10 toes down on that. But I tend to think that the household manager is actually the woman, right? Now, of course, in any business structure, there's management, and they get authority from where? The top, the CEO, the owner, which in this case, the owner would, or the CEO would be the husband, right? So she manages the house, the money, whatever. But more than likely, she's taking orders, directives, or whatever. And I know that sounds kind of draconian, whatever, but y'all know what I mean, from the husband. So she's managing the household. So I do agree with you on that, and we should strive to get married. I would say to make things simpler. I know somebody would disagree with that, but anyway, my throat hurts. I'm starving. My daughter crazy. Talk about, man, I'm a city girl. What am I gonna do with her?
Look, D, I'll take the domestic partnership at this point because I got some other things I want to do. So I'm just saying.
I want to be married again. Y'all remember I was married for 10 months. I want to be married again. The domestic partnership is cool, I guess, but I don't know. I would rather just do it all legal, and all of that. Brother Samuel says the Quran says men are the maintainers of women. He maintains her spiritually, intellectually, emotionally, physically, and financially. She in turn provides comfort, consolation, and the gentle challenge. Y'all heard that? A gentle challenge. Yes, honey, I hear what you're saying, but do you think we maybe should try it another way? Jiggle, 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 wiggle, wiggle, giggle, giggle. You know what I'm saying? Donovan, I know you can't stand me. That's all right. I can't stand you either. I'm just playing. It's all love again. I just want to reiterate that. Demetra, I do have a Cash App address. Demetra, Angela, it's crawling on the bottom of the screen here. I want to say this, and hello to everybody, and we're going to be getting on out of here. and all of that. I will say this. I know Donovan and y'all haven't really seen us, you know, go toe to toe in a while. Donovan and I disagree a lot. But one thing I will say is at the end of the day, Donovan is, you know, I consider him my best friend. I have only a few of those. I consider Donovan my best friend. And I will say, though, with Donovan, he is the only person that we really go toe to toe. Y'all think we just do this here? Oh, no. We do this on the phone, too. We do this probably like 4 times a week. The conversation will start off good. For real. Yeah. You know what? Okay. Nah, you wrong. That's not you don't.
He gets triggered and I get triggered, and it's a free for all. Y'all, you guys need to see it. It's a thing of beauty. I'm standing for the brothers.
And my daughter will be in the living room, whatever, and she'll just be like, again?
Wait. I used to handle her too. She couldn't go nowhere with me.
Yeah, my daughter is Donovan's most staunch opponent. Okay, Donovan is like. But I just want
I will stand for the men regardless. I don't care what these women have to say. It's going to be the way it's going to be. Well, of course, Missy understands. She's been dealing with me since I was 14 years old. She knows how I am.
Right. So she understands my pain. She understands. Missy, you know, sometimes you be having a good conversation and Donovan is just pivot left. And it's like, how did we get here? Oh, now I can't let you slide, brother. So Chris, you say, no offense, but I believe that women and men cannot be friends outside of an intimate, romantic, erotic relationship. You know what? I disagree with that. Donovan has been my friend for over 30 years. I have another friend. He's a male friend. Been my friend for almost that long. And I would say Donovan and Ed have been my friends for the longest, and I don't care who come in my life. I will never, ever get rid of Donovan and Ed. Those are my guys. There's never been anything sexual or erotic or anything like that going on. In fact, me and Donovan would kill each other, okay? But the point that I'm making is those are my friends, and any man that come in my life that do not understand that, then he got to go. Period. I feel about Donovan and my friend Ed like I do Donovan feels about his animals. Okay, they are not going anywhere. I just want to be on record with that. So anyway, I love you guys. I appreciate
Donovan, get rid of the animals. Get rid of the animals, Donovan. Bro, like real talk. I don't know what the hell you think you got going on. You not Mr. Dr. Doolittle. And I understand how you feel about the animals, but animals are for eating, bro. You cut it down to 1.
Wait, which is exactly why you should have animals, because when the nuclear bomb comes off, that is why you have the animal, because that will be the first thing you will eat when everything is contaminated.
I agree with that 100%. I agree with that 100%. But if you got to,
sorry, go ahead.
If you got too many animals, ain't no broad want to have no cat jumping on the counter and cat hair on all over the place and dog hair. I got dogs, right? Mm-hmm. I only have one inside dog though. Nobody else gets to come in the house, bro. Get rid of the animals, bro. Right. Nobody want to smell a kitty litter box. That's got to be one of the worst things.
Well, here's one of the things. When you have animals like I do, I am constantly cleaning and vacuuming. And Demetra will tell you. Demetra, have you ever entered my house and smelled a cat litter box?
I'm gonna tell you right now, Donovan is an anomaly as far as men. This Negro is so clean. If you didn't see the pets, you wouldn't know that they were there. You know how you walk in some people's house? Like my neighbors, I have never been in their house, but if they open their door and I walk by, I'm like, it smells like pets, right? But Donovan, he probably vacuums and cleans like every day.
You don't get to talk about Belle.
My daughter says you guys you don't get to talk about Belle, T'Challa, and Misty. Okay, those are Donovan's animals, and then he's got Maverick.
Maverick. You don't get to talk about Maverick.
So anyway, y'all, we gonna get out of here. Thank y'all so much. We do have a Cash App, PayPal, Venmo at the bottom of the screen there if you want to donate and help the show. To everybody that has donated and helped, we love, 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 and appreciate you. And if you just like the video, subscribe, you watch today, your commentary, all of that helps. So you guys, please enjoy the rest of your day. Yes, Missy knows he's a neat freak. Please enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see y'all on Tuesday. Donovan and I love you dearly. Peace.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.